Welcome everyone to the Zotac Cup for the North American Finals. My name is Peter Counterfeit Hartnell. Joining me is Jesse Benvarmenkans. We are going to be bringing you the semi-finals and the finals of today's proceedings, and we're very much looking forward to it.
Well, same am I, Counterfeit. This is the first time that I've casted since we have been in, since we were in Canada, casting for Compete League. But now, it's all about the Zotac Cup for the NA side of things. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this will pan out on patch 7.11 as well.
Yep, these teams are raring to go. Let's take a quick glance over the bracket. So as you guys can see, we've got 4 teams competing today. We're going to be following Team 7X going up against Solar Eclipse. We've also got Supernova Esports going up against Solaris Esports, which I'm assuming these are sister teams given how similar the name is. Either that, or the teams are exceptionally uncreative.
Well, I mean, Peter, you can't assume anything here. Sometimes people, they come up with the best names, and sometimes they are very close to being the same as well. But never mind, let's not talk about the names anymore, because we are into the tournament draft into the pick and ban phase, and we have 5 bans to go through as well. Sorry, 10 bans, but 5 bans from each side.
Yep, it's a new and a delightful day to be part of. Team 7X on the left, Solaris Eclipse on the right. But yeah, we're into the proper 5 ban system. So for any of you guys who are not as au fait with how that works, to start with, the pick and ban phase is more or less the pick and ban phase that you're used to. But, as Benvarmen will take you through, when we get up to that 3rd pick, things take a turn for the different.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, as far as I know, because we're not quite used to this way, but it seems to be so that you get all 5 bans immediately. Am I right, Peter?
Oh no, it's in LCS style, so...
Oh, it is. Okay, so first off, you ban 3 champions, and then you pick 3 champions, and then you ban the rest.
Yep, absolutely right. So, we've seen Team 7X hitting the mid lane top, and presumably top lane pretty hard. While Solaris Eclipse doing more or less the same. Taking out Shen and Zac, who seem to be exceptionally powerful right now. Caitlyn comes in as their final draft, and even with the slight nerf that Caitlyn's received on patch 7.11, she's still a very popular pick down in the bottom lane.
And I must admit that even though, as you said, Caitlyn got nerfed, I don't think she's ban-worthy. I mean, yes, you can siege really well with her, but because the rune's being changed so that you can't stack her headshots anymore, I feel like there are better picks. Take the likes of, let's say, a Varus or an Ashe down on the bottom side will bring even more to the table than a Caitlyn. But that first pick one, that's a really good one.
Yep, Sile. I'm going to make my best guess on how to pronounce that name there. Going for the Galio straight out. Certainly with Shen being off the table, one of the top laners who does allow for some pretty good semi-global presence and can be used in a lot of very creative ways with the hero's entrance. Solaris Eclipse with their first pick phase, of course, going back and taking away the Karma as the very first choice. Certainly a champion we see a whole lot of.
No, we don't really see a lot more Karma being played. Usually we see the likes of a Fresh coming in just because Fresh will bring so much more to the table. However, I mean, Karma coming in here against Galio is actually pretty smart in my opinion, because Galio brings so much to the table in terms of engage and tankiness. So getting a little bit more mobility means that you can get out of these situations really fast, but you need to build on top of that Karma, because she can be flexed around, yes, but you need to get some good damage to get through the tankiness of Galio. And well, with the picks coming in from the side of the blue team, things are looking to start being really hard.
Alright, well, we know what the jungle picks are going to be for both sides. Kha'Zix locked in for Team 7X. Lee Sin for Solaris Eclipse. Both of these junglers managing to sneak through the most recent patch without even so much as a love tap. So a very potent choice for both. We've got one more coming for Team 7X before we move into that second ban phase. Xayah will be their choice down in the bottom lane, and if Solaris Eclipse do not pick their own AD carry, they may be subject to that second ban phase, stripping away all of those good options.
We really need to see Rakan being banned away on the red team, because if they allow Rakan to come through with the Galio being locked in, you get so much engaged, and with the help of Xayah as well, you get this amazing duo in the bottom side, so you don't want to let that get through. However, with Ash being locked in, I really like the choices coming in on the side of Solaris Eclipse, right?
Yes, Solaris Eclipse across the red side.
Exactly.
They did pick up their AD carry as the last choice. Now it's down to both sides to try and do the second phase of bans. Solaris go after the support position, which so far Team 7X have not picked up. Solaris sitting pretty with a Karma, but there will be no shielding support coming through to Team 7X unless they go for the Janna.
But as I was saying, yeah, I really want to see Rakan being banned away as well. As you said, a lot of supports being targeted out. Well, Janna can still be banned away. However, as I said, Rakan is super strong. You don't want to let that go through over to Saya. You don't want to give that extra playmaking potential with the Galio, because if he's able to use the Hero's entrance onto a Rakan, well, then your team, no matter how much mobility you have from someone like Karma or disengage from Ash, will be in so much trouble, and you need to watch out for trouble, because if you get too much trouble, well, then you might just end up lying dead on the ground.
Some high stakes in this game, as we do see Solaris Eclipse hitting that Thresh pick that you pointed out is another very good choice, but not going to be an option for Team 7X, who with their last and final ban will go after the mid lane that neither team has chosen as of yet, taking away that Kassadin.
Ooh, yeah, well, Kassadin can also be very, very strong, but I really want to talk more about Thresh, because he is just so strong with all of the engage that he brings to the table, with some of the disengage from the Lantern as well. But, whoa, what is this?
I thought they were teasing us, then they weren't, then they were again. Solaris Eclipse going for the Gragas.
I really wanted to see the Orianna, Peter. I really wanted to see it.
I think we still could.
Yeah, we obviously still could, but Orianna would fit so well as well on the side of Team 7X. If you get that Orianna, you get even more team fighting potential. You get on top of Saya's ult, you can then just use the ult from Orianna as well to grab people together.
Well, you mentioned this before, and I've never seen someone so excited for a champion pick, because it will be Rakan coming in. 7X have the combo, which means they're going to be able to get the most possible out of both of their bottom lane picks and the Orianna as well. Nightmare for Solaris Eclipse. They prioritize the Gragas, and perhaps they've gotten punished for it.
Holy hell, I love the composition coming in from Team 7X. Getting so much engaged potential with the Orianna and with Saya. And then you even get Rakan on top of that. So we can even use the Hero's entrance from Galio. There are so many ways that they can play around with this team already. But obviously, some good answers has come from Solaris Eclipse too.
Yeah, I mean, the Gragas, certainly something we've started to see re-emerge recently. I mean, we had got some potential of seeing him in the mid lane, but since those AP ratios got totaled quite a long time ago, hasn't really come out. But up on the top side, he'll be going up against Galio. But Varman, what do you make of that particular matchup?
Well, Galio is just such a super strong pick right now. He's so tanky, he has a lot of damage as well if he's able to land all of his combos. So usually you see someone like, let's say, Fiora or Jax, even a Camille go up against Galio as a counter. Now that's because they push so efficiently, because they can deal so much damage to someone like Galio, who doesn't have a lot of mobility, aren't really that good at pushing, but when he's up against the tanks, up against the Gragas, well, then he will take over, then he will be stronger than his counterpart.
Do not be confused, gentle viewers. Solaris Eclipse are not sending that Ashe up to the top lane, despite what you may think from looking at the stream. They didn't have a chance to be able to get into the traditional LCS order. Team 7X, of course, the old traditionalists, on the left-hand side, but I do believe that we will be seeing the Gragas heading up to the top, whereas the Ashe down to the bottom lane with the Karma. No huge surprises as of yet.
Wait, are you telling me that we're not seeing a top Ashe in this game with teleport during the Season 1 strat?
Well, I'm not gonna say we're not gonna see it, but I'm saying that there's a possibility it may not be a Gragas marksman. I don't want to go out too far.
How would that even work?
Well, you just mark people, marks with your belly. I don't know.
Look,
I'm not the person who chose it.
What does he throw?
He throws barrels. Evidently.
Or like Beermox.
One of the things which I wanted to bring up with you, Ben Rahman, on this patch 7.11, which is obviously a great place to pick up soft drinks, we've got people are starting to really get the hang of the Banshee's Veil, which has now become an AP-centric item. Do you think we might see Mark Boots on the Fizz struggle a little bit if he can't, if we do see Jesus Chris on the Oriana picking up that Banshee's Veil and blocking out any just kind of wild attempts to chum the waters?
Well, the thing is about the Banshee's Veil is that you can't really get it as the first item. It doesn't bring any mana to the table, so someone like Oriana, she is so forced, well, will have to go, because that's what you usually do, will have to go for the Morellonomicon just to get the extra mana, to get the cooldown reduction as well. So with that in mind, you get the Morellonomicon around, let's say, 7 or 8, so level 7 or 8 if you play a standard game. Going up against the Fizz, he will have so many chances to kill you, to screw you over, and actually win the lane before you're able to get the Banshee's Veil. So yes, it's a strong item, but it's never going to be the first item for a mid laner, unless you obviously are some weird mid laner that needs a lot of resistances.
Well, we'll find out if that is going to be the case. Only a few minutes away. Great to see you guys in the Twitch chat. Great to see you flaming the individual players that are going to be playing this game. It's great to see an audience that's really engaged with the material at hand. We'll of course have to take a moment before we get into game itself, so you can come back and look at our delightful faces for a little bit longer as we load into the game. So Van Buren, you've seen what both these teams are bringing to the table.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, if I have to come with a prediction, I do prefer the side of Team 7X. I think that they have such a beautiful composition in terms of what they can do. They have an Oriana that can start plays. They even have a Rakan. In some senses, Sayar can also start plays. So they have so many different ways of playing this game in terms of getting the engages, in terms of shutting down Solaris Eclipse, who are a little bit more forced into some weird situations because they have engaged from the bottom side. They even have an early game jungler, but they also have a split push comp with 2 teleports, and that's not exactly what you want when you have a Karma and an Ashe going up together.
Alright guys, we've got a little technical hitch at the beginning of our semi-final today between Team 7X and Solaris Eclipse, just making sure that all of their bits and bobs are working before they get the game started proper. So we've got a little bit more time to go over what we've got here. As you mentioned, we weren't quite able to see it because of the champion selects being a little bit wonky at the moment. That we have got that double teleport coming in for Solaris Eclipse. Not going to be matched on the side of Team 7X, but they do at least have that hero's entrance to be able to match some of that global pressure. Oh, yes, well, you may have muted yourself by accident.
Yes, I have. So I had to turn down the music. I don't really use this account a lot. I'm from the EU. Same with Counterfeit. So anyways, as I wanted to say before I unmuted myself, I really like the double teleport coming in from Solaris Eclipse. I do think that that's a good addition to getting that, let's say, worldwide pressure in some senses, because you have a Gragas going up against Galio, won't be the best in terms of split pushing, but will be able to make work get work done. And then when you have the Fizz as well, then you can apply so much pressure onto the map, which in the end can divide 7X in their senses, because they have to go for, well, they don't have to, they're not forced to, but team fights are where they are best.
Alright guys, as you've already started doing, please do drop those hashtags into the chat. Will it be Team 7X? Hashtag 7X win. I see you guys have been coming up with some of your own hashtags as well, which is great to see the creativity coming out there. Or hashtag, I guess, Solaris. That's a little tricky to spell, but hey.
Or SOE win.
Yes, that would work. But Rowan, that's how they pay the big bucks. Know how to get the right spelling at the right time.
SE win? SEC win?
I have also, as per request, organised the scoreboard, so it will not bug you guys. I unfortunately can't change the pictures down the right-hand side, which I may or may not have just reminded to annoy those people who were annoyed by the scoreboard being in the wrong order.
You're such a good guy, Peter. You are exactly why I love you.
Well, we're going to get started into the game proper. We'll see if any of these teams are able to get some early aggression. Neither of them chose to pick a fight at level 1, but the bottom lanes don't seem at all shy about getting up in each other's faces.
No, they don't. And well, Peter, what is it that spawns in the bottom side? Very soon, at least.
I would guess it'd be an elemental drake. Let's pop the camera over there and take a look. It's going to be an ocean drake. So
Yes,
maybe
it
not the
is.
priority for either teams, but in the laning phase.
What? What are you saying? It's an ocean drake in the laning phase. It is so good to get the ocean drake, and considering that you have a scaling mid laner in the mid lane from Team 7X, it would be so good to get that ocean drake just to have even more sustain. So I really like the idea of getting Rakan and Sayar pushing already here in the early game to get control and to try and get Sir Celery out onto the side lanes to try and gain control over the map.
Oh, while we're taking a look down this bottom lane, it's worth pointing out for any of you guys who don't play Xayah and Rakan, because they so rarely get to actually take the field themselves. Oh, never mind that, because Win or Learn might be able to run into trouble. Does the shield coming through onto Sir Celery. Jesus Christ chasing him down. Win or Learn a lot of trouble. Rakan coming from the backside, and it's going to be first blood to Team 7X.
Win or Learn getting caught out of position right there, trying to go for a cheeky hit onto Sir Celery, but Sir Celery having the backup Mark Boots were all under control in the mid lane because he was pushed in. So now, Win or Learn didn't win that first early game fight. Now he has to learn from his mistakes.
I thought something like that might be in the future, and I was not disappointed. But Win or Learn slightly disappointed to get caught, even on that hyper mobile Lee Sin. Great reactions from Team 7X to just collapse as a unit. That Rakan showing his mobility as well. But just to finish off what we were saying from before, so Bevarin, could you take us through what do Xayah and Rakan benefit from being in the same lane as each other?
Well, first off, you do have the W from Xayah with the dead deployment. Oh wait, never mind.
Here we
Let's talk
go.
about that later
We might
on.
be about to find out. Really aggressive trading. But we're not going to be put off at all for Solar Eclipse, or Solaris Eclipse even. Raccoon going down very, very low. That trade actually ended out a lot worse than we thought. The shields coming from Karma, perhaps a little too much for 7X to deal with.
Well, the problem is also that the two AD carries are going for the Doran's shield. So with the Doran shield, you want to go for small skirmishes. You don't want to go for these extended fights, which they just went for. So in the end, that just means that Ryu Shoryu will have more damage because of him being Ashe and because of him getting the W and his ranges focused out on to Xayah and Rakan.
I'm really looking forward to this level 6 coming, which can be so effective, particularly for Rakan. I think Raccoon perhaps may be a Rakan main. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that name perhaps might be inspired by that League of Legends champion. I mean, I don't know, but I've got a feeling. Raccoon going in once more, trying to get the play happening, but Ryushio still getting damage. Project Panda getting ignited. Could this be a trade kill? Ryushio gets one. Can they get a second? Raccoon trying desperately to trade himself over, but it's not going to happen. Double kill for Solaris Eclipse, and what a great comeback for them.
Well, I'm not quite sure we can call it a comeback already, Counterfeit, but it's a great start for Solaris Eclipse. We talked about how there are so many ways of playing this game on side of Team 7X, but if you start to lose the early game, if you start to fall behind, well, then someone like Mark Boots, Ryu Shoryu will have more damage than you, will be able to control the map better, will then be able to also get the Rift Health to try and take down towers, will be able to take down towers then, or just without the Rift Health, probably because of them being so strong. And well, that means that they will be able to slowly just choke Team 7X out of this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, the CS advantage really built up for Solaris down in that bottom side, able to shove the minion wave right in. Now with 2 kills and a CS advantage, a real chance for Ryushio Shuro? I'm going to do my best to pronounce it a different way every time.
Ryu Shoryu or
Ryu Shoryu? Sure,
show
you can.
Yeah, that's
All right.
SOE win.
Shurururu. I'm gonna call him Shurururu from here on out. Stevens taking a lot of damage up in that top side. The Galio trading very well, but Mark Boots suffering in the mid lane with that with that range discrepancy from Jesus Chris really taking its toll on him. But he does at least have a teleport to get back to that mid lane and potentially make something happen. Picks up a Hex Tech revolver. Maybe we'll be looking for a little bit of vengeance for all of that harass.
But it's not even like he's too bad in the mid lane. He has a teleport. He can just teleport back. He's even in CS right now as a Fizz against an Orianna. That is such a tough lane to get through. Now with his Chum the Waters being available, so much more pressure can be relieved from him. And it's looking so good for him already here.
Win or Learn looking to try and make something happen in the mid lane. Walks right over his speed shrine and a control ward. No real chance of Jesus Chris being surprised here, but it's worth mentioning that Mark Boots has had that chance to go back and pick an item, whereas at this point Jesus Chris actually at a disadvantage.
So, Peter, one thing we haven't mentioned a lot is Rift Herald. She's going to be spawning in, if I remember correctly, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And once Rift Herald comes up, you really want to prioritize quite a lot, because it's a tool that gives you so many ways of playing this map and open up the map as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's so very, very hard to deny. I think it's Duchess. It's what the right guys were calling the Rift Herald as far as name goes. But yeah, so hard to deny that push. It takes a real concerted effort from a team. Oh, there comes the Chrysalara. There comes the engage. Project Panda down so low. And that's a third kill coming into the bottom lane for Solaris Eclipse, pulling out the teleport as well from Sile, but way too late.
This is not looking good for Team 7X at all. And they can't even do anything. They have no wards. They have nothing to help their bottom side, because Scylla using his teleport is going to be late to the party. He can't even use the hero's entrance. So there's so much trouble in the bottom side for Team 7X, and the bottom side is exactly where they need to shine.
It almost makes me feel like the Team 7X are more used to playing with a Shen as part of their lineup, that the teleport came out so late. CLA being knocked around the place. It's going to pound its way back into Stevens 1, but Win or Learn is there trying to redeem his performance so far. Goes in. They're looking to style on CLA, and they succeed.
Team 7X are falling left, right, and Center Mark Pooks is going in for a little bit of damage, but as I was saying, Solaris Eclipse, they are just finding these advantages all over the map, and it's looking really, really good for them. Now they had a lot of vision. Some of it has run out now, expired. So Celery?
This is Celery finding Win or Learn from the back. It's gonna be the Gragas coming in, but he's too late. Stevens 1 being flashed onto, drops down the barrel. So Celery will have to be satisfied with his own 2-0, the best record on Team 7X right now. Mark Boots coming in, tries to chum the waters, just misses. But he does get at least a bit of CS for his troubles.
Well, yeah, a little bit of CS is never bad, but he has to get out of there because the cavalry is arriving.
Oh, very nice. There's the play from Raccoon. Flash coming out. Mark Boots going to be ticking down. So Celery picks up the 3 kills in the game. Now he is the most dominant player. Moru down the bottom side trying to catch Project Panda. Roots him up under the tower. Damage coming in. Project Panda happy to get away with only a very reduced health bar.
Well, in the top side, Mark Boots got hit by 4 people. Died because, well, you don't really get away even though you are a slippery fish. So nonetheless, 4 kills to 3 for Solaris Eclipse. Win or Learn might want to get on to the Dragon right here. 1,000 gold in the lead. The game is slowly evening out, but nonetheless, getting all of these kills onto the AD carry in the bottom side, it might not be the best target that they could want for Solaris Eclipse. It would have been better for them to get it onto Mark Boots so that they could start split pushing. Nonetheless, it's kills, and it's denying a lot of CS and gold away from Project Panda, who is exactly the person that you need to shine on the side of Team 7X. The Sayara, she can be so strong once she gets a few items, but if you deny these items from her, well, then she won't be strong.
Makes a heck of a lot of sense. We do
Oh yeah, it does, right?
So we do see Solaris Eclipse cashing in on some of that bottom lane pressure, taking away an uncontested Ocean Drake, and just as you said, gonna make that laning phase that much more tricky for 7X, who've already been struggling so far if they don't build up a massive numbers advantage. But that may be about what's to happen. We're seeing 4 of Team 7X moving to the bottom lane. You've seen the arrow coming, Project Panda going up high, dropping on the Feather Storm, not quite finished off, and there's the rest of Team 7X coming in. Teleport coming in this time round. He's going to be there with the double taunt and the shockwave. Team 7X cleaning up in the bottom lane.
Beautifully played by Team 7X in the bottom lane, and I must say that Rio, on the Ashe, why did you go forward? You have a flash and a heal, you could easily have gotten out of there, but nonetheless, we have to praise Team 7X as well, because they were able to go down there, use the hero's entrance, use all of the CC from Rakan as well, with the quickness, just charming everyone. Now that means they will get the first tower of the game, and they will secure themselves a comfortable gold lead in this game. 4 kills on their jungler. Now that might just be the way for them to get back, because it has shown a lot of great promise.
Really, really impressive performance from 7X to predict the engage coming out from Solaris Eclipse and just absolutely punish it relentlessly. First tower does go over the Team 7X, though saying all of that, it does give a little bit of time for Stevens 1, who's ostensibly the support, heading up to the top lane and securing the first tower for Solaris Eclipse instead.
So Stevens 1 is able to answer back with its tower, as you said. Now, Peter, sorry, counterfeit, I'll call you by your custom name. Tower has fallen in the bottom side for Solaris Eclipse. Tower in the top side for Team 7X. Now, in this situation, I would prefer to have the bottom side tower being taken away, because there's no objective in the bottom side. There's no Drake that is alive right now, so you being able to push all the way in the top side means that you can easily get the Rift Herald. However, a tower will just be taken without any answer. And here comes the...
Oh, so Celery coming in, gonna have a little help from a Galio-shaped friend, but they don't get the kill through. Teleport being channeled. Mark Boot's gonna get cancelled out of it with the shockwave for the bottom tower for Team 7X. Moments from dying, but that may be more moments than you'd expect. Cesari being driven back, but Kha'Zix not so effective against the grouped up enemies. Sealer going to be driven away as well. We've got Mark Boots walking the long way down to the bottom lane. This tower is no shelter whatsoever. Mark Boots comes in, doesn't quite get the kill, but Sealer can't get out in time, getting it rooted up, going to get deleted. Ryushu getting the kill in the end, 6th apiece, with Mark Boots picking up one off screen as well up on the top side. Stevens 1 doing his best impression of a top laner, driving out the entire bottom lane of Team 7X by himself. Flashes, goes in and gets the kill, 1v2.
But they're not done yet. Win or Learn is about to learn a lesson.
Yeah, Raccoon is trying to find some safety in the bushes, does charm, win or learn to get himself out to safety. But Mark Boots coming from behind Jesus Chris, looking to try and get him down. Does miss one auto attack, but keeps going. Jesus Chris down very low, gets the shield, the barrier being burnt. Mark Boots coming in, looking to try and finish the job. Will he do it? No! No, he is! And he bumps away. What a play from Mark Boots!
He got away! That's a slippery fist right there. Mark Boots are able to go under the tower and get the kill as well. So much action all over the map. In the bottom side, we saw Scylla and Sir Celery fall to Ryu, Shuri, and Maru. So that was really well played by them. You can't really go in there. Right now, Galio has no damage at all. He needs to get the match resistances in order to utilize his passive the best. But on top of that, we also saw a fight happening in the top side. And well, the problem right now is that Sayah is so far behind, so you can't really rely on her to split push, even if she has help from her lover.
Blade of the Ruin King being completed for Ryu. Certainly those 3 kills going to help accelerate that build path considerably. We have got another Drake coming up in a little over a minute. It is going to be another Ocean Drake. Going to start really stacking up if we see another one picked up for Solaris Eclipse.
But the thing is that now Solaris Eclipse, they don't really want an Ocean.
Ooh, never mind that. Win or lose, not paying attention for just a moment, and he becomes side salad, courtesy of Sir Celery.
I think that Win or Learn has learned a thing from Darian himself. He's feeding to win in this game. But as I was about to say, you don't really want an Ocean Drake right now. You want an Inferno Drake or Mountain Drake so that you can push your advantages even further. And, well, even though Solaris Eclipse are in the Drowsy, that just means that, well, if you want to push your advantages further, you want to go up to the top side, get the Rift held. But you cannot get that because the top side river, that is lit up as a Christmas tree from Team 7X.
A really good vision from them, getting down some of the control wards in their own jungle to presumably stop some invades and give them a little bit of warning of advancing peril. But yeah, you're right, I'm surprised to see neither of these teams commit down for this Rift Herald that might be about to change though. Solaris Eclipse in the area, they know they've only got 3 minutes to secure that massive objective. Rift Herald vastly more important than it used to be just a few short patches ago. It could seem to be traded across this Ocean Drake for Team 7X though.
Counterfeit. I do not like this decision from Solaris. Sorry, from Team 7X. The Rift Herald is the most important objective on the map right now. You cannot utilize the Ocean Drake at all because you can't really sustain in any situations because you have a Fizz pushing in a side lane. You have a Gragas pushing as well. Now you also have Lee Sin with a Rift. Oh wait. That's probably.
Oh, an engage happening. Ryu in a lot of trouble. Doesn't have the ability to get away. Cesari picks up their 6th of the game. And what does it mean for Team 7X having nearly all of their kills on their jungler? Cesari goes in once again, looking to try and find someone further. The knockup doesn't quite come through. Hero's entrance coming out. It's not going to connect, and a nice blast cone sends them right into the arms of Cesari. The shutdown comes through. Will the kill be traded? No. Stevens and Mark Boots going to get caught up with the shockwave, but it won't stop the kill from coming through. A double kill coming through for Sile, but it's still a very violent fight. 3 for 2 so far.
But this is not what Solaris Eclipse they want right now. They do not want to fight in this way. They want to send their split pushers out onto the side lane. They nearly have both teleports off and available. Then you want Rio, Win or Learn, and Moreau to go into the mid lane, utilize the Rift Herald, then just start us pushing there, and you can knock down 3 towers if you play this correctly, because Galio cannot really answer to Gragas right now, even though you had the Abyssal Mask. You don't really have anyone that can answer to Fizz in the split push as well. You want to send, let's say, Orianna down there, but Fizz can easily dive the Orianna. And well, your Sayar doesn't really bring any wave clear in the mid lane, so you are really in a position where whatever choice you make is going to be one disease or another.
I mean, honestly, I don't mind too much to at least see a team that's behind. Oh, never mind that for a second. Roshio gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Nice flash across the wall from Cesari, picking up his 7th of the game, courtesy of that Yumo's Ghostblade. I mean, despite the fact Team 7X being relatively far behind at this point, they still got the most successful player in the game on their team.
And well, that is also a good decision there from the best player on their team, Sir Celery. Having 6 kills, he knows that he is able to just assassinate anyone that goes out onto the side lane. So why is Ryu down there? You should be grouping. You have a Blaze of Ruin King and a Seal. You have so much pushing potential. You just need to group up with your team, push down towers, because the way that you're playing right now is just giving so much control back into the hands of Team 7X. They're now able to get their 2nd tower of the game, and the Solaris Eclipse, they need to just take a moment, chill, and perhaps
perhaps put their business in order, because we have got Win or Learn in a lot of trouble running away from Cesari. Doesn't have a blast gun to get away, but Mark Boots is waiting to try and turn us around. Mark Boots is going to walk right into that ward, so Cesari not going to be caught off guard. Hero's entrance coming in. Mark Boots going to be caught up a little bit in that taunt. Nice knock up there from Win or Learn with the Dragon's Rage, trying to make this turnaround. Still a very tight fight, and the rest of Team 7X not going to be there in time.
But you shouldn't even be fighting against Sir Celery. Solari Eclipse. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Move Fizz and Gragas out onto side lanes. Group up with the rest of the players, because again, you are fighting against a Kha'Zix. 1 versus 1. And that is where Kha'Zix is best. He has 7 kills right now. He's packing quite a lot of damage. So you cannot keep fighting this way because it gives so much power back into the hands of Team 7X.
Well, Team 7X have a chance to find themselves again. Rift Herald being deployed, I believe, up in the top side. We'll see if how Rift Herald ends up doing, because it looks like that Solaris Eclipse are going to leave that Rift Herald unattended, which does potentially leave it easy prey for Team 7X.
And now you all group up into the mid lane. Just let Rift Herald do her job in the top side. Now you can all group up and push down that tower in the mid lane. You have such a hard engage from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. That's all you need to use. Fizz is down in the bottom side. Galio cannot do anything to Fizz. Fizz can easily take down someone like Galio right here, despite Galio having the Abyssal Mask. You just, again, focus on taking down towers.
It makes a heck of a lot of sense. We still yet to see any real reaction from Team 7X to the threat of the Rift Herald. Though, of course, saying this, Celery is going to immediately come from the back and start doing work. Same kind of weaknesses apply to Rift Herald in lane as in the pit, which means Celery can just go around the back, hit that weak point, and the Rift Herald's really not going to get anything for Solaris Eclipse at all because they left her unattended.
It was also a desperate place to put the Rift Herald. She was slowly running out of time, so you just had to put it down somewhere to try and get something out of her. She managed to push the wave halfway to the tower, but now I have to stop being so negative. I need to actually say something positive. I really like the way that Solaris Eclipse are working around in terms of vision. They are trying to place vision further into the jungle to try and gain control of the map, which is exactly what they should be doing. However, a big problem is that a lot of the vision are on the top side where the Baron is, and right now a Mountain Drake is spawning, and you could use that so well with this team because, again, split pushers.
We have got Team 7X making their way into the mid lane at speed, looking for something to happen, but Celery, not perhaps the one you want first into a fight, gets driven off aware of how quickly things can go poorly. We have got Mark Boots coming from the back. We might be seeing Team 7X caught in the jaws of a trap. Will they be able to extricate themselves? Raccoon's going to bring the Chum the Waters to his mid laner. Very thoughtful of him. Raccoon going down very low, has the shield, but it's not going to save his Shockwave catches too. But this fight going terribly for Team 7X. Mark Boots picks up the kill. So Celery is going to get a little help from his friends, but it's now going to be 2 on 5. Project Panda too late to this fight to save their teammates. Seeley is going to be filleted. Win or learn takes the kill, and a huge fight for Solaris Eclipse.
Beautifully played by Solaris Eclipse as well. They utilized all of their CC in such a beautiful way, and they know that,
Whoa! Stevens wide across the wall, forcing out the heal. Project Panda fighting underneath the tower so low. Stevens thought that would be the kill. Does get denied. Now he's stuck in the base of Team 7X. Is going to absorb a flash for his troubles, but gets a shield from his teammates, which means it's going to be all turned on its head once more. Mark Boots pick up his 6th kill of the game, and this gives Solaris Eclipse the time they need to smash down and open up the bottom lane inhibitor of Team 7X.
The name of the game right now, Counterfeit, is that Team 7X, they are behind. They don't have any damage at all. You have an Ashe with, sorry, not an Ashe, a Rakan, Saya with literally no damage. Orianna is so far behind as well. The only one that is able to deal any damage at all is Kha'Zix, and well, he's only good in 1v1 scenarios.
Well, we might be about to see a fight break out here. Mountain Drake does actually seem to be given over to Team 7X. A small consolation prize as a Crystal Arrow comes out. A desperation attempt on that Baron, but shrugged off by Team 7X.
But something that Team 7X needed indeed was to get that Mountain Drake, because now, with the help of that Mountain Drake, they can start to push down towers. It's another way of trying to claw back into the game. A game where they are nearly 10,000 gold behind.
Turret being picked up for Team 7X. Not bad at all. Still lagging behind by 6k gold in this game, but starting to make up some of that ground. Certainly, with the Mountain Drake going to be able to stick up the objectives more easily. Looks to be that Baron Vision may be the next order of the day, but I can't imagine we're going to see an actual Baron take as of yet. Raccoon goes across the wall, trying to take away that blast cone. Stevens will have to be happy with just taking away a ward.
I thought he would go in and like place a ward or something. Just going over to take away the blast cone is fine as well if you are thinking about taking that Baron. Oh Jesus Christ!
Jesus Christ getting caught up by Chum. The Waters is going to be all by himself. Apart from Project Panda, Shockwave going to miss. Hero's entrance means Mark Boots may have bitten off more than he can chew. Goes back into the base. I don't think he's got any chance of sacrificing himself. Jesus Christ just avoids getting caught, but all this time, Solaris Eclipse in the mid lane, smashing down the tower. Mark Boots did exactly what he needed to.
Yes, and well, on top of that, he got even 2 cherries. He got both the command Shockwave and the hero's entrance. So now, if they start out the Baron and somebody comes in there, you're missing a lot of, first off, damage, but also CC, Team 7X. They are now in a bit of a hole where they cannot really do anything for a while. Sir Celery are able to dodge away there. Mark Boots.
Mark Boots getting caught up has earned the Shark Boots name in the chat. Sir Celery almost in trouble there. Raccoon coming in to make sure that doesn't go any further. But Mark Boots going down extraordinarily low. Still, even at this point in the game, so far ahead, knows that Sir Celery has the opportunity to delete him if the opportunity arises.
But you can still, because of Mark Boots having his teleport, just move down to the bottom side, start to push down there, attract a lot of attention again onto that inhibitor, then make sure that, well, they have to make a choice. However, Mark Boots are teleporting in.
This is going to be a huge fight coming in. Raccoon gets a knock up on the backside, but Stevens coming from the back himself. Project Panda in a lot of trouble, drops down the Featherstorm, just stays alive. No, Mark Boots gets the kill. Sir Celery in a lot of trouble and also gets taken to pieces. A terrible fight for Team 7X, a great fight for Solaris Eclipse. They pick up the triple kill on Shark Boots. He goes in, takes out Seeley. That's going to be the ace. That's going to be Solaris Eclipse taking the Baron as well and cementing this game.
Beautifully and well executed by Solaris Eclipse. They were just able to have Rio in the backside, hammering away on Jesus Christ and Raccoon. Project Panda has no damage at all, so Celery is the only one packing a punch, and well, in a 5 versus 5 scenario, he has no damage because of Kha'Zix being so good when he goes up against an isolated target. Now, this just means that, well, you will lose the Baron because you can't really fight against your opponents because of you being so far behind. Now, that is over 10,000 gold that you are behind.
The gold really flowing in, over 10k gold advantage for Solaris Eclipse. We've seen Team 7X trying to take on Solaris Eclipse on reasonably even terms, but I have to think that's so far out of the question now.
It certainly has to be out of the question, Peter. It certainly has to.
Final steps being put in by Solaris Eclipse. We've still got still got the Baron push to take care of, but I have to think that's almost a formality at this point. I don't know how Team 7X stops Solaris Eclipse from doing whatever they want.
No, the problem again is now that they have the Baron and the damage and the gold lead, everything is falling into place for them. There is no way that Team 7X right now can realistically stop them unless Solaris Eclipse they missteps in some way, that they are doing some kind of weird team fighting where they don't have their carries there. They have to rely a lot on the back of Team 7X's jungler as well. Sir Celery packing all of the damage. He has to be the one carrying his team back into this game, but it's getting harder and harder to assassinate the back line in these fights.
I mean, with this game becoming team fight after team fight, so sorry, really struggling to get anything done at all. Project Panda goes in, gets a fair chunk of damage down, of course. Mark Boots is down in the bottom lane with that open inhibitor for Team 7X. It's surely only a matter of time, especially with those Baron up minions, before that inhibitor falls and Team 7X end up with a problem they may not have a way out of.
We need to see a grand entrance into the quickness coming out from Raccoon in order to engage onto them. Here we go!
There we've got the double knockup coming through. The shockwave catches 3. This is the fight that Team 7X wanted. They're so far behind. Project Panda takes an arrow to the face. Mark Boots gonna get interrupted by a massive Galio. Zonya's gonna stop the knockup, and he gets across the wall with the troll pole. Stevens one getting knocked up, but he's on the wrong side of the wall. Project Panda going down very, very low. Does get the shield coming in. Stevens down solo, so Celery gets taken out. That's a huge amount of gold away from Team 7X. CLA in a lot of trouble. Health bars very low across the board. Project Panda, in moments from death, flashes away, gets caught by the legendary Shark Boots, and another kill coming through. 10-1-4. Mark Boots going crazy on this Fizz, and I think this could easily be the end of the game, only 31 minutes in.
It might easily be the end of the game indeed, Counterfeit. Now, they are pushing down the Nexus Towers. Mark Boots is still having so much fun in this game. Nonetheless, Solaris Eclipse, despite making some weird decisions, they end up winning the game because they were able to just pull themselves ahead of Team 7X and keep Project Panda and Jesus Christ down, not allowing them to get any gold, any way of them getting back into the game.
Wow, what a game one! Really go, both these guys really going at each other. Of course, with this being a best of one, this will be the last we see of Team 7X this evening, so commiserations. But Solaris Eclipse winning that one out very thoroughly, and certainly sending a message to their finalist opponents. We'll have to take a little break while we get set up for the next game. I believe we'll either be going for the other semi-finals or across to the finals itself, but we'll keep you guys posted on stream. And please don't go anywhere at all. We'll be back as soon as we can. Alright guys, welcome back to the Zotac Cup and the North American Finals. We've seen our first semi-final match take place, and it was quite the cracker, with Solaris Eclipse going ahead over Team 7X in a pretty decisive fashion. Now we've got the other half of that bracket, or the other side of the bracket I suppose, with Supernova Esports going up against Solaris Esports in also best of one competition.
And that's also going to be so interesting if we continue the fashion of the first game, where we had Team 7X who were able to pull the game a little bit back and forth. Solaris also coming in with some, well, I've written down on my notes some weird decisions, but they were the ones to snowball in the end. And, well, they did a good job once they got control over the game, but until the point that they got control, they had a little bit of trouble. But nonetheless, as I was saying, back and forth games, I would love to see even more of it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of controversial decisions. Certainly, you guys in the chat, let us know what you think. Please do exactly the same thing for game 2. I'm sure these guys would love to receive your support and any nicknames and or rude names you may have for them as the game progresses. Supernova Esports against Solaris Esports. We're still waiting to find out if the Solaris teams are sister teams. It seems pretty likely, but we're going to treat it like a vast mystery that it may not in fact be.
It would be so interesting if it wasn't. I mean, what's the chances even that you get two teams with Solaris in their name in the tournament? In the tournament with 4 teams?
That's true. I mean, stranger things might have happened.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
that many stranger things, but a few stranger things in the world.
Okay, well, counterfeit. I mean, we can talk a little bit about this team. So we have on the right side, sorry, on the left side, we do have the team of that's the Supernova Esports. Then on the other side, we have Solaris Eclipse. Sorry, Solaris Esports. And Solaris Esports, they have a team with 2 challengers, 2 masters, and 1 diamond 2. And then if we compare that to Supernova Esports, they have 3 masters and 2 diamond 2s. So in some sense, the team of Solaris Esports are better. But obviously, League of Legends is a team game, so we can't compare it all to the solo queue stats.
Well, yeah, I mean, it can make such a huge difference when you have these teams, you know, spending time with each other and just being able to pull out these team strategies. I mean, even when we do see a strong performance from an individual member in the game, you know it's because of the support of the teammates that's even possible.
And, well, the thing is also that League of Legends used to rely so much on snowballing in Season 3. It was all about one guy just popping off, carrying his whole team over to the victory line. Now, however, it's so much about teamwork. You don't see a team of, let's say, Origin win the World Championship. No, it's SK Telecom. Well, at least they have won a lot. They were close to getting bested against Samsung Galaxy last Worlds, but nonetheless, it's a team like them, a team that works so well together, that have so much coordination and synergy. That's the team that wins.
Yeah, well, we'll find out if individual skill will run out. I mean, certainly, we've got a lot of master tier players in this game. I mean, some pretty darn serious teams competing for this one. I mean, though we've got a low number of teams, the quality of the teams coming in very, very high.
Yeah, indeed, and well, we did see that in the first game where it just went back and forth. So obviously that is an indication of 2 teams being fairly even matched.
Yeah, up until the end where it really did start to get out of control. We're just waiting on one of the teams to get their players into position before we get set off into our second semi-final of the day. Please let us know. Is it going to be Solaris Esports winning out this time? Is it going to be Supernova? Come up with your own hilarious hashtags. It looks like we have got readies coming in from both sides, so we should just be a few more moments away from going into that Champions leg for the second time this evening.
Yes, and I am again so hyped to go into these Champions Leagues. It's the first time that I am casting on the tournament draft with all 10 bands. So it's going to be so interesting to see how that pans out. However, we are straight into it. So, well, why don't you just take over, Counterfeit?
Alright, well, starting us off for Solaris Esports, they're going to be heading up top lane, taking away that Fiora as their #1 priority, whereas Supernova Esports going after Zac in the jungle instead. We've seen him be so effective. No surprises as of yet, but we're going to also have to figure in which 3 picks are each of these teams going to make based on these bans.
And, well, I mean, with Fiora being banned away, you'd have to assume that on the side of Supernova Esports, they will ban away the Galio. Fiora is such a... Okay, so... Oh, no, sorry, Graves coming on. Fiora is such a standard ban if you want to pick up the Galio, just because of her being so strong against Galio. So, well, obviously there is the ban against Galio.
Yep, well, apparently Supernova Esports were thinking along the very same lines, decided they don't want any part of that equation to be part of this particular match. Best of 1, so a mistake in the pick and ban phase could be absolutely crippling for either of these teams as Solaris choose their final ban, which will be Orianna in the mid lane of all people.
And now we have to assume what is left. We have to think about what can be picked up here. I would like to see an Elise coming out. I think Elise is so strong. Other picks for the jungle could be the Lee Sin. Ivern is still also open if you want to go for a little bit more of a late game scaling comp.
We do see Rakan being taken out as the final choice, even though we saw Rakan in the ideal circumstances in the last game. Didn't work out in the end, but we will see the return of the Fat Man Gragas coming in as the very first choice for Solaris Esports. However, Supernova take the chance to lock in their shielding support and their very strong Caitlyn carry. We've got the chance for Solaris to make the response before that second ban wave comes washing away their chances.
So, with you locking in Karma and Caitlyn, you're not exactly taking away anything from your opponent, but you're not showing anything either. Like, now, you just know that you have a strong bottom lane, a Karma that can be flexed into the mid lane as well. But, I would love to see something like an Elise coming out. Gragas has been locked in. Cannon is also something you could go for. But still, if you don't want to show too much here early on in the pick and ban phase, then, well, Caitlyn Karma are still some good picks despite Caitlyn being nerfed here in patch 7.11.
Well, we had the talk about Thresh in game 1. This time round, he's made it through the pick and ban phase up until the start, so Solaris have got their bottom lane to respond to Supernovas as well. We'll see if Supernova decide to pick up their top laner to complement the Gragas, or instead go for something different and give them, both teams rather, the option to really pinch the champion pools of the remaining positions.
Oh, and there is the Elise. Yes, sir. That is exactly what you need right now. You need to get some kind of early game pressure out onto the map from the side of Supernova Esports. You already have a good and like a good bot lane, let's just put it that way. You have
Sure.
a bot lane that can hold their own. So getting an early game jungler means that now you can start to build on top of that. Now you can also get the good top laner, the mid laner to build around Elise while your bot lane scale up.
Well, we are seeing the bans flowing in, and it seems to be that we have got a different situation coming in because of that Elise pick. It now means that Solaris Esports are picking the Kennen with their first choice, whereas Supernova, with their jungler secured, feel more than happy to go after the jungle picks themselves. Will we see a second jungle pick banned away? We will. That Ivern, thought about by Solaris Esports before, not locked in, and now no longer an option.
I would have prefer seeing Lee Sin being banned away instead of the Ivern, because you aren't afraid of an Ivern invading you as an Elise. You are afraid of someone like Lee Sin coming in and invading you early on, shutting you down. So with that being said, instead now you obviously can try and go for something that can help you if you get invaded on early on in the jungle, because, well, Ashe also brings a lot of backup to a jungler invading.
Oh sure, I mean we saw how well the Chris Lara worked out last time round. Certainly going to be a huge part of things again, especially combined with that death sentence for those short range arrows to really make those hurt. Supernova Esports have picked up their mid laner in the form of Syndra, still incredibly impressive, even with the slight nerf she received in patch 7.11, making her just that tiny bit less reliable and a little bit more prone to missing her skill shot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Syndra is always something we want to talk about, but, well, Peter Counterfeit Hartnell, what is that just got locked in?
Well, that would be a Nunu, who is in fact riding his Yeti, and he's not the Yeti himself. Just for any of you guys who are big fans of knowing what the names of things are, Root's going to be a real pain in the jungle and try and take away those camps of the Elise, but also the mid lane pickup will be Ari for Solaris Esports, an incredibly reliable mid laner, before the final choice for Supernova Esports, Renekton, with his recent changes reverted, is now back to being that animation cancelling monster up in the top lane.
But I do have to admit that I really think that Nuno is such a good pickup. I talked about how I would like to see something like Lee Sin, a Rengar coming in, trying to gain control of the jungle early on. However, with Nuno being locked in, you get even, well, you don't even get more, but you get some utility that you can help the Ashe with, so that she can actually become a little bit more of a late game scaling AD carry. But you already have so much help if you go into invade, which you will want to as a Nunu. You have the Ahri, you have the Ashe, that are two ways of getting fast over to the Nunu, or helping an invade, or taking down an early objective early on because of Nunu having his consume.
Well, I mean, we're talking about this Nunu. It certainly against a lot of junglers would be a very, very effective way of taking away as many jungle camps as possible. But I do wonder what happens if Nunu runs face to face with Yami's Elise.
Well, if he runs face to face with Yami's Elise, then Nunu will have trouble. Shout will take a lot of damage because it's not like a Nunu packs a lot of damage. All Nunu brings to the table is utility and objective control. So if he runs headfirst into the Elise, then Elise will put down so much damage onto Nunu that Nunu will most likely be forced out of the jungle. I'm not quite sure Yami will be able to kill Shout unless he has the back off of Julian or Pie Lord, which will be very unlikely as those two guys will look to just shove in their lanes so that Doyle and Value in the bottom side can thrive as best as possible.
Alright guys, we're only a couple of minutes away. Please do get those hashtags flowing into the chat and watch out for those big cap spams because as you can tell, the bot does not like those whatsoever. So do try and avoid getting timed out for being too enthusiastic. Just be exactly the right amount of enthusiastic.
And it's do or die time now, Counterfeit. Whichever team loses this game will be out of the Zotac Cup NA edition. Supernova Esports obviously wants to go into the grand final, but so does Solari Esports. They also want to go in there. They also want to go up and fight against Solaris Eclipse. But it's going to be a hard task for the two teams, and we are only 1 minute away from finding out, or at least getting closer to finding out, who will win this second semifinal of tonight.
Perhaps it might be that Solaris finals, which I'm sure they've been striving for all this time. I'm sure our guys from Game 1 hopefully are in the chat, hopefully going to show their support for their teams, especially if it is a sister team for Solaris Eclipse and Solaris Esports. Please do let you guys know. I certainly would love to see some of our Shark Mark pal coming through on that Fizz. Letting us know what he thinks of this game. But yep, 30 seconds before we head into the loading screen. Overall, what's your kind of general feeling about how you expect this game to play out as a whole?
I really think that we will have a lot of early game aggression coming in from Supernova Esports. They have a fairly weak Caitlyn because of the Runan's change coming in. She's more reliant on a solo target now. You have a Syndra and a Renekton that will be able to push, so that's already a lot of aggression coming from them. Then the Elise will obviously look to invade onto a Shout in the jungle for Solaris Esports, will look to gain control over the map so that they can continue to just push down towers left, right, and center. Whereas Solaris Esports, they'll just try to cover the ends, try to make plays around the bottom side where they have the Enchanted Crystal Area, where they have the Fresh, and the possibility of Ari roaming all the way down there.
Alright guys, just a few moments more before we get into the semi-final. As mentioned before, it is going to be best of one, so any mistake going to be absolutely vital and potentially crippling. We do get to see some different choices coming this time around. Really excited to see what particularly can happen on this Nunu. Will it go really well and show the power of the Nunu, or will it be showing us why Nunu doesn't get picked necessarily all the time?
Well, the thing is, Counterfeit, that if Nuno is picked sometimes, we do see him go up against someone like Iron to be a somewhat of a counter to Iron, just to pack a lot of utility as well. However, it's not an Iron that Shout is going up against in this game. It is going to be an Elise.
That's true. Alright, let's get into our second semi-final of the day. Solaris Esports going up against Supernova Esports. A lot of esports, a lot of violence, no doubt. And they head out onto the Rift. Looks like both teams spreading out to try and do the 5-point cover we've seen be so popular.
Of course, you don't want to give any advantage over to your enemies already here from the get-go. That would be a little bit ridiculous and a way to put yourself behind, which might just end up costing you the game.
Looks to be no particular early invades coming through. Both teams covering every potential avenue. They don't need to want to let the ward come in early. And, of course, just like last time round, we're doing a pause for good luck to start us off. But it will give us at least a chance to get the scoreboard reorganized again. Oh, wait, we can't just do that while it's paused. But a chance to talk through the game itself. Now we've at least seen that neither team's looking for a cheeky 5-man invade.
I could have imagined perhaps seeing Supernova Esports go for that invade, but the problem is that then you would have to get Yami started with the Cocoon, and then that would obviously put him behind in terms of overall momentum in the jungle. His clear would be delayed so much from not being able to start his W. So now, perhaps the best choice here from Supernova Esports to not go with the E-start on Yami.
Oh, I mean, it seems like an enormous risk on the part of Supernova Esports to make that huge commitment, especially considering Cat and that Thresh has such great utility that if he wants to take the Flay and stop that from happening. But we're not going to be delayed too much longer, as that pause was only teasing us, and we'll be back into proceedings in just a second.
Yeah, it wouldn't be an NA broadcast without a pause, right?
Well, yeah, but they want to just keep us on our toes. We do see Shout making his way in on that Nunu, looking to get down a little bit of vision and perhaps a precursor to a little bit of early aggression, trying to keep track of Yami and making sure if these invades do happen for the Nunu, they do not go disastrously wrong.
I actually think that I have to probably admit that I've seen more pauses come out in EU games than NA. I always think that when I do an NA broadcast, it always goes so smoothly. There's never any real pauses.
Yep, well, hopefully we've
Not to flame anyone.
We've got all our situations sorted out, all of our issues taken care of right at the start of this game rather than during the most dramatic moments later on, as we see the junglers starting on opposite sides from each other. Some potential here, particularly for Shout to try and get in a quick early invade. I have to think though that Supernova are going to be very much aware of that.
But Supernova Esports, they have also given away the position of Yami. There is a there was a ward on Yami so that Shout knew where Yami will go early on, so that he's able to match with a steal onto his buff of the blue buff. So Shout is able to perhaps take away that blue buff, and that's going to hurt Yami quite a lot. Is fairly mana dependent early on, at least. Obviously, it's best that she gets her red buff, because that does give her some ganking potential with the slow, but still, it's going to hurt him so much not getting that blue buff and not trading over evenly.
I'm a little bit surprised to see Supernova not dropping down that ward in anticipation of that kind of strategy. I mean, we've certainly seen it a lot more with Ivan come in with his very similar invade potential, that teams can't afford to be left in doubt as to what's happening with their invading style jungler.
Exactly, you need to anticipate this. You need to see into the future. You cannot give away this crucial early game knowledge. When you have an early game jungler, then you need to be able to dominate the early game. Then you need to have control of it. And well, if you give away the control of, sorry, not the control, the placement of the jungler, well, then you will obviously have troubles. But so will the bottom lane.
Yep, we've got Doyle in an enormous amount of trouble. It's going to fall for the first blood to Solaris Esports. Very, very close thing, though. We do have Yami coming in, but just being a little bit too late to that engagement.
That's also a benefit you get of know where the other jungler is. Then you will be able to make these decisions. You will be able to make these plays early on. And well, getting an early gang off, getting the first kill with the help of Nuno as well, that couldn't be better. Now, Solaris Esports, this is exactly what they wanted in this game.
I do apologise for the slight speeding up there, just making sure that my client is fully up to date with things. As you guys may have seen on other streams, there's a little bit of a bug with the spectator, meaning that sometimes the replay will get hitched up and we need to speed back up to get back to real time and make sure we get you only the freshest information. I'm really impressed for Solaris Esports that they managed to get in and make that invade successful. They had Yami walk right past, putting out the question mark pings, wondering where their jungle has gone, and so far we haven't seen any response from Supernova to try and make up for it.
But it was also such a smart decision, because usually you do see junglers start at the Raptor camps, just taking away that early on so that they can get that extra amount of experience. Now, nice counterweight coming in here with Pike King Lord.
Yep, Yami coming in, gets the stun. A lot of stuns coming, but Milo able to just walk away. Blast Gun's going to be taken on the way out. Support's going to find each other in the river. I think Katir's daddy, or just Katir's from the Daddy clan, is going to be able to pick up that control ward. But yeah, we're starting to see Supernova getting a little bit more proactive, and they may be rewarded with the return blue buff. The rest of Solaris not there to try and counteract, and it goes across clean.
You talked about them not coming in with a response. This is the response counterfeit, just trying to counter invade. A little bit lucky that the blue buff hadn't been taken yet by Shout. He could have gotten up there earlier on, but wanted to clear his bottom side of the jungle. So in that, he loses the blue buff, and it will be traded evenly over to Yami. So now Yami with that blue buff can try to catch back up in speed against Shout.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit disappointing for Solaris Esports to succeed so well and then give back all of that advantage without really putting up too much of any kind of fight.
But going back to the good early invade from Shout, it would have been a good stepping stone to start this game because of him also being able to move down to the bottom side. But it lost some momentum because of him wanting to clear away his bottom side jungle first before going up to get the blue buff. Now, oh, Julian.
Oh yeah, Drutagan in a lot of trouble, gets stunned up. The exhaust comes down, but it may be too late. Drutagan, one auto attack from dead, but no, Julian doesn't want to flash in for it, doesn't want to risk his life.
It would have been very risky to go in there when you still have a flash on the side of Drutagan. And now, well, Julian being able to shove Drutagan out of that lane. Again, that's what we talked about. You have two strong side lanes, however, Shout coming down to the bottom side.
Yeah, Doyle in a lot of trouble, forced to flash away. Death Sentence not going to connect. Nice Yordle snap trap as Katir is going down very low. Doyle being burned through. One snowball will do it. No, the shield too much. Yami coming in looking to try and make up for lost time, being played back in place. Yami going down pretty low, but so is the rest of Solaris Esports. Cat is going down very low as well. Value coming in looking to try and make it happen. The kill goes across to Value, then a second to Yami. Shout trying to trade his life, but it just means there's 3 kills for Supernova Esports.
That's why you attack the AD carry. Beautifully played by Supernova Esports, knowing that, well, Caitlyn didn't get focused at all, so she could just keep going, keep attacking with the help of the headshots, putting down so much damage on the Catiers, and picking up 2 kills for himself. 1 kill also going on to Yami, so this could not be better at all. In the pick and ban phase counterfeit, we talked about the scalingness coming out from Value and Doyle. Now getting 2 kills onto Value with the top side dominating, with the mid lane dominating. The jungler gets so much free time to utilize this 1 kill that they got. That she got.
It's starting out incredibly well for Supernova, just being so patient to finally turn things around for them down the bottom lane. And yeah, advantages all over the map. CS advantage up in the top lane for Supernova, in the mid lane for Supernova, and now in the bottom to even put aside the extra kill as well. Even the Coil coming in for Value to really just push through and pick up as much gold as the game goes along. Supernova look exceptionally well set up as this game progresses.
I actually want to hit on the Coil real fast because we did know that he will be looking to farm a lot in the bottom side. So going for the Coil, as you said, gives him a little bit more power later on because of that extra gold coming in. Especially when you have a top side pushing and a mid lane pushing, you can go for the Coil very easily. It's not something you see very often, but well, now you're getting 2 kills. It actually works out really well because you're getting that BF sword on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to change up so much. It's only the 400 gold advantage as you might expect from that 1 kill. But yeah, that BF sword, I can just imagine the headshots coming in are going to be absolutely crippling. And without a shielding support like Doyle on this Karma to keep Snow in lane against that trade, I feel like it could start getting very dangerous for Solaris very quickly.
But not just the headshots, you also have the built over Peacemaker that will deal so much damage from Value. I mean, again, just going back to the point we've talked about in the Pingman phase, Renekton is so strong, especially against someone like Gragas, who doesn't really pack a lot of pushing power. He has gone for double Dawn's ring to get a little bit more power early on, but Renekton just is a natural bruiser, is natural top lane
Bully?
bully. Thank you. And that means that he will be able to keep pressure in the top side. Same goes for Syndra. So Value now being strong, now they have 3 pushing lanes, 3 priority lanes, and if they play this correctly, well, then they can start to get objectives around the map as well, because they just need to push down towers. But with Yami having so much freedom, and the Tracker's Knife, they can get a vision around the Dragon Pit and then get that Mountain Drake early on as well, because of them being so strong and getting all of this gold into their pocket.
I mean, it's such a good situation for Supernova to be in. As you mentioned, that Mountain Drake just going to really amplify that sieging power that Value's got on the Caitlyn to be able to take away that first tower, push this gold lead further, and start to really outpace Solaris Esports in this game. We've yet to see the Nunu make a big impact, and it's already starting to feel like Shout a little bit lost in proceedings, having to face up against the power of an Elise as far as kill potential goes.
I think saying that he's lost might just be a little bit harsh already here. We're only 7 minutes and 18 seconds into the game, so a little bit harsh. Nonetheless, I do have to agree a little bit with you, because it does seem like Yami is more in control of the map right now. Has been able to go down to the bottom side, and I have to say that I think a big problem of it is that Solaris Esports, they have close to no wards on the map right now. They have 2 wards, but it's all in the bottom side jungle, where you have control of it already. You know when the buff is spawning, you know when Yami will be down in that bottom side, so you don't really need to ward down there. You just need to try and go into the top side. Like, you have an Ashe in the bottom side with Fresh, but she's not level 6 yet, so she can't force anything down there, so it's not a priority lane as of now.
Well, I mean, I take your point. It is still very early in proceedings, and we saw that Shout had a very specific plan in mind with that Nunu, stealing away the blue buff, stealing away the Gromp as well. But since then, has kind of really struggled to find their place, find the opening that they need to be able to really punish Yami for the time they spend ganking rather than farming the jungle. I mean, I'd like to maybe see that Nunu being used to get some early dragon pressure because of how effective Nunu is at taking objectives, but so far no sign of that whatsoever.
We did also talk about that in the Champion Select, where I said, well, with Snow and Kadir's being down in bottom side, you have so much engaged potential, and Shout needs that. He needs to be able to rely on that in case he invades onto Yami on the opposite side, but also if he goes for a dragon. And well, the bottom side right now isn't a priority lane because they don't have the CC yet, so mid lane is where they have the CC, but Juice again with the ult, the Spirit Rush, can just move down to the bottom side, is able to roam around so efficiently, and with a an exhaust coming in, they can make a lot of heavy engages on the bottom side. They just need to find their courage and basically go for it, because it's not like they are behind 10,000 gold, it's only 1,000 gold.
No, that's a really good point. I mean, certainly for both of these teams, if we did see either the top laners or the bottom lane secure those Rift Scuttlers, makes it so much easier for the mid laners to interfere in what's happening to the bottom side, and it could be a real turning point for Solaris Esports if they can start trying to break out of this current pattern of just regular laning, which hasn't worked out terrifically well for them thus far.
It has been a slow and steady game, more or less. Yes, we have had 4 kills in the 7 minutes that it's been played, but if the setup is perfect for Supernova Esports, all they need to do now is just play to the priority lanes, play around Renekton, Syndra, Caitlyn, being able to push in all the time. Then, as I've said time and time again, Yami has so much control over the map, can just put down wards left, right and center all over the place, and then get control over the map for his team so that they can keep pushing in. But we're getting tricked a little bit here. The game will not be paused.
Yes, it was in fact only a tease once more. They want to give us as many chances to appreciate the notion of the game not being paused as possible, but it looks like hopefully we'll be back into the game, and this time hopefully for good.
I'm crossing my fingers, Counterfeit. We are back into the game now. We've been in the game for over 10 seconds. That means we will be back, hopefully.
Yes, we of course can't draw too many conclusions, but we've got the fighting going up in the top lane as expected. Piecake Lord making use of that phase to really make it hard for Milo to disengage from these short exchanges.
During the break, we talked about Shout moving down to the bottom side to try and gain control over the Drake. We can still see that happen, but before that is something that is of relevance, we need to see Snow get his Enchanted Crystal. Well, he just got it. Okay, so now they can actually move down towards the Drake because of them having the necessary CC to make that one pick onto Julian or onto Value, so that they can start the Drake with a weak Supernova Esports going up against them.
I mean, for a second there, I thought we were going to see Julian maybe overstepping the bounds. It's worth noting, of course, that Julian has got that cleanse in their pocket, so that Crystal are going to be that much less of a threat. It seems to be that Supernova Esports looking to take advantage of their lead, get set up around this Mountain Drake, and really get things rolling.
Well, they are also the team in control, as we've said. Like, Caitlyn is so strong in the bottom side right now. You have a mid laner that can keep pushing in and has control in terms of mana, because the blue buff is in the advantage of Julian in the mid lane. So, as I've said, Julian is forced to stay in the mid lane because of him getting pushed in all the time. That means that they have control over the Drake, the priority in the mid lane, and that's going to be the first Mountain Drake most likely going over to Supernova Esports. Perfect setup.
We know what the power of Nunu can be as far as stealing away Drakes go, but unfortunately for Solaris Esports, Shout absolutely nowhere near that first Drake of the game. It will be a Mountain, and as we've alluded to already, going to make it that much easier for Supernova Esports to try and get that first tower and keep pushing this lead forward.
And that was exactly Drake taking 101. Put down Vision first, then then just push in your mid lane and your bottom lane. Step 3, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 4, profit. That's what they just did. And that was such a beautiful setup from Super
Oh,
Nova
Julian coming in from the back, looking to try and make a mess of things in the bottom side. Katiz may have put his mid laner in peril. The Rooter comes through. Julian, the value the one to finish off the kill. Katiz is going to be next. Milo coming in with the teleport. Katiz with a beautiful death sentence, but it's cleansed out of immediately. A 1-4-0 in favor of Supernova Esports, who are looking very like a team that's going to secure first turret.
With Snow going down, they have 5 man in the bottom side, whereas Milo is there, but he can't really do anything and might just go down.
Milo with no mana, forced to use the flash to get away. Shout comes in across the side, but what can Anunu do against the entirety of Supernova Esports? Absolutely nothing, as it turns out.
Milo had to stay in the top side to try and push in against Pie Lord when Pie Lord were down in the bottom side. Now, however, they will get the tower in the bottom side for Supernova Esports, and they won't really be punished by it. Yes, you will get some CS back in the mid lane on Druidigan, but that's about it.
Got another pause coming, as you guys are more than aware. So, we get another chance to sit back and reevaluate things. More or less as we might have expected so far, the trends seem to continue. Though saying of this, Snow actually not doing too poorly for themselves, even being behind multiple kills, has got a roughly comparable item loadout right now.
Counterfeit? That's not what we want to talk about.
It's not.
We want to talk about Value and Doyle moving up to the top side, because that is an interesting play and a really smart play. Doyle and Value moving up there means that now they can start to push down the towers in the top lane. They even get control over the Rift Herald as well. They already took down the Drake. Now, with no objectives being down there, with Pie Lord being so strong already with the help of the Phage, and him nearly having his teleport, they have so much control over the top side right now, and there is no way that Solaris Esports will be able to really get control over the top side. This is not Summoners Rift anymore. It's Supernova Esports Rift.
I think you're right, honestly. I mean, the Caitlyn pushing power along with the Doyle on that Karma, going to be very, very hard to deny. We do see Solaris Esports at least managing to respond in time, sending their own duo lane up to the top to try and at least put off this push for as long as possible. But that big gold deficit may make that impossible. We've already got Yami moving into the jungle to try and cut off any potential reinforcement. But Value on that Caitlyn just poking down the tower from extreme range. Yami may have overstepped their bounds though going into the jungle. Going to get caught up by Shout. Has to go up high. Uses the blast cone beautifully to get away. But Julian making it happen as Cat is down very low. Ace in the hole's not going to connect. Shout flashes in with the absolute zero. Julian going to get traded across for that kill. And not a bad pickup at all for Solaris Esports.
Solaris Esports fighting back, getting a small advantage here with them picking up Julian. But the kill went over to Snow, and what they really need right now is the kill going over to Julian instead, so that they can try and, well, force objectives around the map to try and get that mobility mage out onto the map. However, they will just instead lose another tower despite them getting that kill. And now Rift Herald might very well be taken with Pie Lord being in the mid lane, Julian getting back. They can just shove that lane in. Oh, never mind, Julian will go down to the bottom side. Never mind.
Well, I mean, it was certainly an option for Supernova Esports. Apparently, they've got their eyes on the mid lane instead. Looks to be that Value's heading that way, perhaps looking to go third time lucky with that Caitlyn shove. This time round though, perhaps a slightly different setup, and maybe Solaris will respond differently and have some more success. Maybe trading a different objective rather than just giving it over for free.
Nonetheless, next step is that Rift Herald, and there is no objective that Solaris Esports can take instead. They aren't in a position to push down any towers, so they have to try and stop the Rift Herald from being taken, but they can't do so because they don't have any items to fight back against Supernova Esports. They are just in a position where, well, they have to try and stop the bleeding, but they can't really do so because they don't have any bandage. Really? Supernova Esports, they are just in the control. Next up is getting that Rift Health. Then they will be able to take down the mid lane tower. And then they have opened up the map. Then they are even more in control. And then this is just all about closing out the game.
Exactly as you said, value there with the rest of the team, making sure that Rift Herald goes over smoothly. All the while, Piecake Lord is down the bottom lane, keeping Mylu there as well. Arrow's gonna go completely wide. Oh, though I say that, I think it almost hit Julian just at the edge of the screen. Rift Herald was secured by Supernova, and that's just gonna be even more trouble coming down, even more towers falling in their favor.
It is indeed. She is so strong, that Rift Health. She is a queen of pushing, and now they have some options to play around with this Rift Health. Obviously, you want to open up the mid lane, but Julian is already very strong in terms of pushing in the mid lane. Has gone for the Sorcerer's Shoes early on in order to get a little bit of a quick power spike, but blue buff is still open, so you can just take that down in order to get the mana. But I wanted to say you could also just move up to the top side to take that tower down, because if you're having a Renekton pushing in the bottom side, no, they want to get that mid lane tower, they want to open up the map, but they have to hit the tower as well in order to get it, and no, they won't.
No, the minions actually...
okay, no mind.
No, Rift Herald falls down, the tower still stands. For Solaris Esports, teleport being challenged, I don't think it's going to be finished off. And surprisingly enough, Solaris managed to hold on to their mid lane turret, despite the Rift Herald taking a huge chunk out of it in a hurry. Here comes the engage. Repel means that there's going to be no explosive cast coming through. Yami drops back into play. Snow does get the kill. Their third of the game. The big hope for Solaris Esports is in this Snow's Ash, who's finally starting to get going.
Supernova Esports, they do not care about this, because in the bottom side, Renekton were pushing away, getting damage onto that tower. Now, Piecake Lord has to back away. He's getting baited a little bit here by Shout.
Yeah, flashing in, but Mylu comes back to make it a bad decision. Piecake Lord slicing and dicing his way out of trouble. Snow pouring in that damage. Amazing death sentence there, but all the while, Solaris will lose their mid lane tower for those kills. Still, I'm liking what we're seeing from Solaris Esports. They are making some proactive moves.
Solaris Esports, yes, they are making those proactive moves in order to try and fight back here against Supernova Esports. But I feel like the light simply isn't worth the candle. They are trying to make these forced plays, but if they go down to the bottom side to kill Piecake Lord, the amazing split push who are so strong right now, well, then they will just lose the mid lane tower, and in the end, little strokes, they do fell great oaks.
I have to say, I haven't heard some of these idioms for a while, but it's delightful to hear them again. As we've got the Ocean Drake will be the next target of opportunity for Supernova Esports, who still do maintain a pretty significant lead. But now if you look at the two AD carries, they have roughly similar records, if you just get confused about where some of those twos are.
That is certainly a possibility. I'm not quite that drunk that I cannot see the two in the middle. However, yes, as you said, it is a fair... Whoa, that's a kind of arrow.
Wow, there's the catch. Oh no, the Spiderling getting caught up by the death sentence. Yami may still have bitten off more than he can chew. Yami gets killed by Drutigan, which means that it's now Solaris who get the chance to move in on their first Elemental Drake of the game. Supernova Esports going to be pushed away, and suddenly it's Solaris looking like they're the ones dictating terms.
Solaris Esports just caught Supernova Esports with their pants down. Well, if you are there all alone and you don't respect the Spirit Rush from Drutigan, then you will obviously be picked off. You will lose to Drake. Of course, it's only an Ocean Drake. It could be worse, but it's an objective nonetheless, and a way for them to play. But, whoa, Piecake Lord, again being one step ahead, putting down love damage to the topside tower. Now that's another way you can take that down and Shout!
Oh, Shout! It's going to fall down and die. Now it's 4 members of Supernova Esports pushing down this top lane tower. Supernova don't want to have another fight like they did last time. Much more happy to pick up individual members of Solaris and not play fair in the slightest.
But as I was saying, it's just Piecake Lord again being one step ahead, getting so much time to push up in the top side. Shout not being down. Now they just push in the bottom side as well. Teleport coming in. Super Esports, they are super.
It's that tower going down in double quick time because of the fast forward, bringing us back up to 5 towers, 2-1 in favor of Supernova. Just being able to take that mid-tier 2 completely uncontested by Solaris, despite having Snow picking up the first tower of the game for Solaris themselves.
And despite the wards being out from Solaris Esports, they can't really use it in any way because they have all the wards down in the bottom side. There aren't any dragon there for them to take. Yes, they had them up when the Drake was being taken, but the problem is you need defensive wards right now, and well, you don't really have any. You can't stop a push as well because of you lacking some wave clear as well. So it's really a bad position that Solaris Esports are in, and well, the importance of all these towers being taken down for Supernova Esports is that, well, while having pick potential, they also have a fairly good team fight.
Speaking of pick potential, Julian getting evaporated. Cat is avoiding getting the return damage through, and now it's going to be Solaris Esports making a move in on this Baron. Looks like Supernova has decided to try and get what they can in the intervening time, picking up a tower for themselves. We've got the Baron fight just about to start up with that Nunu there. Cat is in a lot of bit of trouble. Juge can just manage to avoid out that damage. It's going to be very tight, but it will be Solaris picking up that first Baron of the game just past the 20-minute mark. And they may be about to pick up a whole lot more. Lovely crowd control onto Piecake means he can't move a muscle. Value in a lot of trouble getting flashed onto, getting destroyed. It is going to be 6 kills on the Snow, this Ashe for Solaris Esports, and what a great fight for them.
Supernova Esports trying to go in and try and steal away the Baron, but weren't able to do so because Solaris Esports, they had a Nunu that is so much true damage coming out onto that Baron from the Consume and the Smite. And on top of that, Snow having a lot of kills already and the items to work with can deal quite a lot of damage. So now they will lose the Baron. They will lose a lot of kills and 2 towers, and everything is falling back into place for Solaris Esports. Now, with the help of the Enchanted Crystal Arrow and a fairly fed Druidigan, they can try and make plays around the map, especially if they can make even more picks onto someone like Julian.
I'm really impressed by Solaris Esports right now. Just being able to turn everything around. It's so tough for a team to be able to keep up that concentration and not just start waiting to lose in these games. Solaris coming back, making their proactive plays. I mean, that Baron felt so risky, but it felt like a risk worth taking.
In some senses, it was a desperate measure from Solaris Esports, but a calculated desperate measure. I mean, they have a Nunu, so the true damage is in their favor, and it paid off so well for them with that Baron buff now. Now they can push in. This is how they will play in the game moving forward. They have to try and push in to just get the maximum out of this Baron power play, because they need items to work with, and in order to get items you need gold, and gold is usually easier to get from towers.
Well, certainly.
And of course, minions killing, but that's hard.
It does take a lot of work. There's just so much standing gold left on the field. Milo almost getting caught out with a death brush there, but it looks to be instead it's going to be Julian getting caught out and destroyed again. The kill again going on to Snow. Has got the Essence Reaver, has got that crit building up. It's going to be able to throw out so many arrows, so many engages for Solaris Esports, who pick up another tower, and the gold is almost back to being even between the two teams.
Julian has to respect the engage from a Fresh, a Nunu, and an Ari, especially the Spirit Rush is something that Julian has to respect. Now, with him going down, there's no way that they could wait clear in the mid lane, so that also means that not Supernova Esports, Solaris Esports, they can just rotate down to the bottom side, and with the Dragon respawning in 20 seconds, they can just get down there, take that as well, and they are certainly in the driver's seat in this game.
Totally. I mean, it's A completely different game. The goal now completely even between these two teams, despite Solaris being behind a tower, that Baron making up for a multitude of difficulties. Starting out this game, we have got another Drake coming. It's going to be another Ocean, doubling up that effect for Solaris Esports. Supernova yet to make a response, and with a Baron empowered recall, Solaris will be back out on the field before Supernova can make too much aggression.
But what is there even for Supernova Esports to take? They can't go for a Baron. They can't even push into an inner turret. They might be able to steal away a blue buff here, but that's really about it. Because next step for them is to push down the inhibitor turrets. And that is going to be so hard. Yes, you have a Caitlyn, that is good siege. But Druid again has such a good way of engaging. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Snow is also a good way of engaging.
Speaking of, that was beautiful. Shout coming in. There's so much pouring into the way of Pie Cake Lord. Absolute Zero being blown as well. Pie Cake Lord absolutely destroyed again. 8-2-3 for Snow in this game. Those Crystallars have been on point, and they are pointing the way towards a Solaris victory.
And that pick couldn't have come at a better time. Getting the pick here when no way we're ready to get pushed in means that, well, there's no response from Supernova Esports and they will fall flat. Now, looking for a pick, Snow won't fall for it.
Very dangerous to go alone into that jungle. I think it shows that Supernova really just hoping for something to bring them back into the game. I think at this point, it's really relying on Solaris making a misstep. I mean, given we've got such close gold amounts, it still feels like it's Solaris the one who are really dictating the pace, as they've come from such a big deficit to now being very serious contenders for winning this game.
It's actually a good point that you're making, Counterfeit, because yes, you are in control on the side of Solaris Esports, but you don't exactly have a good siege like the side of Supernova Esports. Their siege is so good. They have the Caitlyn, they have the Syndra, they can keep sieging forever and ever, and they even have the Karma in order to get away if someone engages onto you. But with the siege not quite being in place for Solaris Esports, that just means that they will have trouble getting these last towers pushed down. Value forced to cleanse away right there.
They're very, very close on the Crystal Arrow. So many potential opportunities for Solaris to make a play happen. Shout getting a little bit frustrated there, not able to quite catch up with the very slippery Value, who's able to just walk away from things. Great investment into that Quicksilver Sash to make sure those Crystal Arrows just a little bit less likely to make the big play for Solaris Esports.
Baron is respawning in 40 seconds, and with Baron respawning, that is going to be such a contested objective for the two teams. Supernova Esports, they obviously really want to get that so that they can enhance their siege potential and of course try to close out this game. But they have to be so careful. Solaris Esports, all they need is one misstep from Supernova Esports and they will have found the perfect pick, and they will be able to then just get control over the Baron and, well, get the control over the game again, the pushing power, and then end the game from there.
It does seem to be that Supernova trying to slow the pace of this game down. When Solaris are able to make the plays, they work out so often, and Julian has been the victim of them more than once, rocking the 1-3 record. Not what I think Supernova were expecting in this game. As the second Baron of the game gets started up, drawing out the teleport from Supernova Esports. Katis gets the catch. Nice catch onto Yami. The stun comes through the Crystal Arrow, but no, it doesn't quite play out. Snow does get the kill because of the Absolute Zero coming through from Shout. Pie Cake Lord does manage to access the back line of Solaris Esports, but it won't matter. Chasing down the mid laner, but does get the shutdown gold across. Nice slice, nice across the wall. The death sentence connects, and it's going to be Snow fed another kill. 11-2-3 in this game, being able to do just as they please.
The one misstep, as we said, Counterfeit, that's all Solaris Esports they need. Supernova Esports going in and getting that one misstep, delivering it straight into the hands of Solaris, because we saw Yami getting picked off, and that allowed them to just use all of their CC onto him, so he got killed very fast. And well, with the front line not really being present at the fight, Pike Lord not being there, Value got hit early on, got killed easily as well, and with Value being gone, there's just no damage at all coming in from Supernova Esports.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that the goal is still so very even between these two teams. So much of that goal being tied up in snow for Solaris Esports means that I'm kind of surprised to see Snow not be given more priority in these team fights. We saw Drutigan, the one being chased down by Pike Lord, and on that Ari, that is not an easy thing to do.
While Snow is strong, yes, that is a good point, kind of fit. While he's strong, you still have to think about Value also being strong. And obviously, Value doesn't pack as much damage. Oh wait, never mind, we don't want to talk about that, we want to talk about the Baron.
Baron being started up, teleport being channeled, but it may be a sacrifice play coming through from Milo. The Baron does go across the Solaris, but they may have sacrificed a member. No, they even haven't done that. The cleanse coming out on Pike Lord goes in hard. Absolute Zero being channeled. Pike Lord is being taken out very low, gets taken out by Snow. This fight still very much in contention. Cocoon goes wide, and it will be a disappointment for Supernova, who get nothing for their troubles.
Supernova Esports, they wanted the Baron, but they're not done yet. They want even more kills.
Yami just avoids, just misses, sorry, the Cocoon. Shout gonna get taken very low. The consolation prize will be that Nunu. One less Baron buff on the field, but Solaris starting to build up that goalie from being behind for such a long time. Supernova on notice.
We talked about the problems sieging up for Solaris Esports. Now they have that Baron. Now it's not going to be any problems sieging up. And well, if Solaris Esports are fast, then they might just be able to get that Mountain Drake as well to enhance their siege potential, to empower it, make it stronger. And well, they are trying to move down there. Their jungler is still dead, so they will most likely have to try and steal it away. Nonetheless, siege is what they can do now. Oh, Julian!
Oh my god, even with the cleanse in a lot of trouble, both mid laners getting huge chunks taken out of them. Catids, I'm sure, would love to finish up the kill. The Crystal Arrow threading the needle through Supernova Esports. But yeah, but the second Mountain Drake of the game up for grabs. It seems to be Solaris, though, who'll be the ones to get it because of Julian being absolutely wiped out. What a great engage from Drutigan.
I got so hyped after that one, because that was exactly, again, a misstep. What Solaris Esports they needed. If Julian had died there, or basically just from Julian getting chunked, you get all of the control over the map right there. Yes, Value is able to put down your snap traps, but the spears, Dark Severs coming in from Julian, is even more crowd control, which you really need in order to get that Drake. And now, with the goal lead, while it being a fairly low goal lead, it's still a goal lead for Solaris Esports, and they, with the Baron buff, will be able to push down these last towers and try to end the game here.
Well, as ever, we're going to be having an Elder Drake coming in just a few minutes more with 3 elementals for Solaris Esports. That's going to be a whole hunk of damage to allow him to push through and take away even more from Supernova. I mean, looking at the items that Supernova have built, they feel like they're so wary of these Ash Arrows with the Mikhails, with the Quicksilver Slashes, but still, despite all of that, these engages are still going off for Solaris Esports, and here's another arrow coming through. It does miss, but with all that cooldown reduction, for Snow, it's not going to be too much longer before we will see another one flying into the face of Supernova.
A huge problem of these fights as well for Supernova Esports is also that they don't really have a dedicated front line. Yes, you have Pike Lord, but he's only strong in terms of health. He doesn't really have any resistances. Yes, only really from the Dead Man's Plate, and that's about it. He can't tank up all of the damage coming in from Snow, and well, if they are able to get the cleanse or the Mikhails away from one target, then there is just going to be even more CC coming in from Carriers, from Juragan, from Milo, so they will always have even more CC to pour out. Now, the first tower is just about to fall here in the mid lane.
Those snap traps being built up, making it a very dangerous situation for the Supernova to stay around. They want to hold on, but the nice Death Sentence catches and the charm as well. There's such a lot of health for Pie Lord, means he's probably the only person who could have survived that. But it still is going to allow for access to that inhibitor turret, and it will fall. It's going to go down. Hyami goes up higher, boys getting Death Sentence. But there's nowhere to go afterwards. Mio going down very, very low. Shout has to flash away Pie Lord. The front line for Supernova chasing up, going to get deleted. Shout's the one to take the kill. And a disaster. So close, yet so far for Supernova.
Supernova Esports, they saved that inhibitor, which is exactly what they needed, but they needed even more kills. Just at least one kill to respond to the kill onto Pie Lord. However, the crucial part is that they saved their inhibitor, which means that they can now buy even more time for themselves, because now they can wait at least for the Baron to respawn. Then they will be able to get another chance in this game. But it's a slim margin, and they are just slowly losing out on this game because, well, while they still are fairly late game scaling with Value and Julian, there's just more engage coming out from Solaris Esports, which will never allow Supernova Esports to get to the point of scalingness in the late game.
We've already seen... Oh, Julian dodging out so much crowd control. But even with all that done, still Snow gets the kill. Solaris have so much pick. And despite the best efforts of Supernova to keep this mid inhibitor safe, it will get destroyed. And this is going to become a major problem for Supernova. It looks to be that Solaris aren't even satisfied with that one inhibitor. They look like they want another one.
It definitely is going to be a huge problem for them because they need their wave clear in the bottom side. Julian is dead, so they have to send Pie Lord into the mid lane to try and deal with that. And even afterwards, they also have to send Pie Lord in there because they need Julian in the bottom side. But the siege can continue from Solaris Esports. The CC is about to get up as well, but they probably want to go back, which we are seeing them do because of the Baron respawning in 30 seconds. They want to be in prime position to take that. And right now, a lot of wards are in the Baron pit for Supernova Esports.
Well, at least at this point, Supernova will have the knowledge that the Baron is going to be attempted. Though saying all of this, Supernova are making their way into the Baron pit itself, perhaps looking to interpose themselves between Solaris Esports and yet another major objective. The goal is still close between these two teams, and as we close in on that 40-minute mark, even someone like Julian, who's had a tough game, is starting to build up those items they need to be a credible damage threat. Baron being started up by Supernova. Solaris coming to try and contest. This could be vital. Shout dropping down the absolute zero. The shutdown onto Snow. That's the best and most successful player of Solaris. Value taking out Drutagan. Supernova may have turned this game on its head once more. Catch onto Doyle. Huge shield coming out as well. But this is a massive fight. Milo going down very low across the wall. Value still stands. Shout very low as well. Oh my god, that Death Sentence across the wall. Value is so close to dead and does fall down. We have got Pancake Lord taking out another kill. Doyle very, very low. Yami off the backside, missing the cocoon. This is a Pyrrhic victory for either side. Yami goes back in very, very low health. Cat is looking to try and finalize the kill. Pancake still on massive health. Consume coming in. Smite coming in for Shout. Make it impossible to finish the job. But what a violent fight, and Pancake Lord finishes it off with style.
It all looks so good for Supernova Esports. They got the pick onto Snow, then afterwards they killed Jude again. But Julian went down because nobody peeled for him. Then Value just kept going for so long, and with no lifesteal being in the hands of him, he would not survive that fight. Well, he has 10% lifesteal, but the Mercurial Scimitar doesn't drink that much. He needs to play the Rune King or Bloodthirster in order to sustain even more. He ended up dying as well, and then it just all fell apart for Supernova Esports. They weren't able to pick up the Baron. Now, Elder Dragon has been started for Solaris Esports.
Oh, Snow may have made a mistake here. Does get stunned out. It will be the Elder Drake coming in. Snow now going to have a massive quantity of true damage, taking out Piecake Lord. The stun comes through. Elder Drake's not going to help you with that one, but Shout may have bitten off more than he can chew. Drops down the absolute zero, but gets shot down. Supernova coming back into this despite everything going wrong for them.
That's what happens when you die early on in the fight. You will respawn and then you will be able to just go onto an objective very fast. And this is do or die time for Supernova Esports. They are going for the battle while their base is getting pushed down.
Cat is going to get caught, going to get rooted, going to get deleted. We've got Julian coming in from the side. Julian going down very, very low, does get taken out. Nice use of the Zhonyas, but it will be a kill being traded across, but that's going to be the ace for 3. Solaris can take whatever they want right now, and it looks to be they're heading towards the Supernova base.
As I said, do or die time for Supernova Esports. They made a decision, they had to stick by it because their base was getting pushed down. But minions are still in the base, and the only one being up is Piecake Lord. Has to hold his own for 25 seconds against Snow and Milo, and he's about to die!
First Nexus Tower will go down, second one in a hurry, and that will be the game just like that. Solaris Esports take a crushing end to the game of what have been an incredibly competitive match up until that point, lasting 40 minutes.
Such a not one-sided game at all. I wanted to say back and forth. That's the word I wanted to go for. That game was indeed very competitive, and the two teams, they were very evenly matched. And as I wrote down in my notes, I must say I felt there was some smart macro coming out from Supernova Esports, but in the end, the stacking of CC from Solaris Esports, the way that they could just utilize the CC in order to look past their problems in terms of a late game mid laner, then Snow would just carry these fights, and because of them having killed someone like Value or Piecake Lord Julian and exposing the rest of the team of Supernova Esports meant that they would win the fights very convincingly time and time again.
Well, very, very impressive performance in that game. Both the teams working really hard, not giving up despite both teams being behind. So far, it felt like it could turn around at the end, but just having Snow up and ready to take advantage of that one team fight, even with only 2 members, too much for Supernova to be able to deal with. And yeah, it looks to be like we're going to have a Solaris final for you guys.
Yeah, that looks to be so. Solaris Eclipse going up against Solaris Esports in just a few seconds. I think we are about to go to a break. Before that, of course.
Yeah, we'll need to just gather our thoughts. Of course, up until this point, it has been a best of 1. Now, for our grand final today of the Zotac Cup, we'll be moving into the best of 3 format, giving these teams a chance to adapt to each other. If, as we suspect, these are sister teams, they'll have a pretty good idea of what each other's strategies are. So it'll be fascinating to see how things develop. But for now, let's take a short break and we'll be back with you as soon as we possibly can. Hey guys, we are back for our grand final today. By agreement between the two teams, we are going to be seeing a only best of one to finish us off today. And it's going to be between two teams now. They've named themselves a little bit confusingly on the Pro Draft tool, which we're going to be using for our finals. So it is going to be Solaris Eclipse on the left hand side with Solaris Esports over on the right.
Indeed it is going to be, and well, we already have one ban coming out. Apparently, I cannot see the ban coming out from Solaris Esports, but they are telling us in the chat that it is going to be a Jax ban.
Alrighty then, well hopefully that will come through in a second. Yes, it does seem to have had a little bit of a technical hitch there. Hopefully you guys will have to bear that in mind, as we've already got Solaris Eclipse banning out the Ahri and the Fiora as their first two choices. Again, we're seeing the top lane getting hit pretty hard in this ban phase.
Now, however, with Jax being banned away on the side of Solaris Esports, I would like to see them either focus on banning away Galio, because right now they are just giving so many bans into the hands of Solaris Eclipse, because they are allowing them right now to get a lot of Galio counters banned away. Like, they have the first pick on the side of Eclipse, so I don't understand why you're going for all of these Galio counters, banning them away, because you're just doing your opponent a favor.
Yeah, it definitely could be a mistake here. We've got Solaris Esports with their very last ban about to come in. We'll see if it's going to be another top lane pick. No, it's going to be that Elise that worked out so well in the previous game. Of course, it's worth bearing in mind, Mark Boots, simultaneously the hero and the villain of the chat, is going to be over on the Solaris Eclipse. We'll see what they end up taking this time round. Fizz has been left open, so we might see a return to form as Solaris Eclipse pick up Karma as their very first choice.
So now with Karma being locked in on the side of Solaris Eclipse, we have to imagine that Solaris Esports, they go for the Galio. They cannot let that get through another round. They have to pick it up right here, because a lot of counters has been taken away. And, well, it would just be so weird not picking up Galio, especially with all of his hardest enemies being banned away. And it's also weird with this login coming in.
Yeah, well, Rakan will be the very first choice for Solaris Esports. We'll see if they do decide to pick up a Xayah to go with. So far we have, we've seen us a couple of times this duo come out in the bottom lane, and even while they're theoretically very strong, didn't work out in the end. There we go, you called the Gallo, it does get locked in as the very second choice for Solaris Esports. Now we've got to see what Eclipse will do to respond.
With the help of the quickness and the grand entrance from Rakan, you don't really get a better way of engaging here onto Solaris Eclipse. Therefore, you have to take away Galio, especially again, as I said, all of his counters being taken away. Getting the duo of Rakan and Galio just puts such a great tool into the hands of Solaris Esports.
Yeah, that crowd control so hard to deal with, but Eclipse will make the response in the form of the Gragas. That disruption perhaps gonna put a bit of a stop to those plans from Solaris Esports. Again, a reminder, it's Eclipse on the left and Esports on the right. Both Solaris teams, and we're assuming sister teams, coming into our grand finals. LeBlanc will be the last choice of the first phase for Solaris Eclipse. Looks like we might again be seeing a big presence for our beloved mid laner Mark Boots.
However, now, what can Solaris Esports really go for that would fit their composition? I would like to see an early game jungler or something strong in the mid lane like Syndra, because you already have Galio and Rakan. That means you can make plays around the map. Now, getting a priority lane, something that can push in really hard, is also so good for them, because this now means that with this with this composition that they have built together, they can get a scaling bottom lane, a strong jungler to go with it as well. However, Grey is being banned away. Lee Sin is still open for the taking.
Yeah, so looking through what we've got open at the moment, we've still got both sides having left their AD carries open. I do wonder if we'll see any bans heading that way, but with the jungle choice presumably still left open for Solaris Esports. I would imagine we're going to see a lot more. There we go. Zaya's coming in. There won't be a second phase pickup of that combo for Solaris Esports.
It's not like you need it as well on the side of Solaris Esports. You can go for Ashe or Varus. That will fit your combo as well, just to get even more CC to work with. Caitlyn being banned away means you don't want to go up against that. You don't want to get her in the bottom side, and I'm quite a fan of that. I'm not convinced over her power in patch 7.11. I think that she got butchered quite hard with her not being able to go for the headshot anymore.
Well, Ashe will be the AD carrier choice. We saw how effective it was in the previous game. So many great picks with that crystalline arrow. Whether or not Solaris Eclipse have got the option of picking something similar, it used to be that we would see the Varus coming through, but it's been a long time as we've seen him try and be an equivalency to the Ashe.
I would like to see something like perhaps a Twitch coming in here. Lucian can also work, but Twitch, in my opinion, would have been better just to get even more late game damage, sustained damage. I don't think that Lucian is the best, but he is a lane bully, and that's exactly what you need to tear down Rakan and Ashe. They do have a lot of presence in the bottom side, but if you can bully them out of there, if you can bully them down, make sure that they stay very, let's say, vulnerable and weak, well, then you just buy so much time for your own composition to work.
Solaris Eclipse going down that aggressive route once again with the final choice of the Lee Sin in the jungle, but Solaris Esports apparently having something up their sleeve, dropping down Fiddlesticks as their last choice for this all-important Grand Finals match.
A match that can be decided by only one game. It is a best of one, and well, Solaris Esports, they have to really rely a lot on Rakan and Galio. Picking that up in their first rotation means that they are very reliant, and they what's the word? They put a lot of pressure on getting that engaged. Let's just put it that way. They rely on getting engaged, probably in order to make the game work for them.
All right, guys. So, if any of you guys have been experienced with the Pro Draft tool, it does mean the teams will have to go into the game and actually run through the champion select once more. It won't take too much longer, but we will have the traditional 3-minute delay before we get into game itself. Yes, but what are your kind of feelings on what we've ended up with for both of these Solaris teams?
It's two very different comps. For Solaris Eclipse, they have a little bit more of let's try and snowball the early game. LeBlanc trying to roam around a little bit with Lucian and Karma getting control of the bottom side, and Lee Sin doing his thing in terms of a early game jungler. Then on the other side, for esports, it's more about team fighting. It's more about taking control of the map slowly. Fiddlesticks jungle is not something we see very often, but Rakan, Galio, Ashe, Syndra, they work really well together, all four. We've seen them before. It's very standard meta, and I can imagine with Fiddlesticks going in with his Crow Storm, Galio can just use the hero's entrance on top of him. It's all of these picks, the Rakan and the Fiddlesticks, is just there to back up Galio to make his entrance easier.
I mean, we've seen, I kind of hope we might see it in this game, the LeBlanc clone as a potential target for that hero's entrance, but you make a great point about the Fiddlesticks' potential backup. I mean, combined with the flash, the amount of distance they can cover, the amount of surprise they can deliver in a hurry, such a different setup than the Solaris Eclipse on the blue team are going to be used to facing up against. I honestly don't know. How's your general feeling on this? Do you think, on paper that seems like a very strong combination, but do you think that Solaris Esports are going to be able to pull it off consistently?
That's actually a really good question, Counterfeit, because the thing is that it's a composition that works together as a unit. Like they all have to work together in order to bring out the best possible results. And if just one of them falls down, let's say Galio falls behind, loses a lot of items, will not be as tanky as he needs to, well, then you can still do the engages, yes, but the hero's entrance won't be as effective as you want it to, and that means that you kind of lose the essence of this composition.
I'm going to be so interested to see what Shout on this Fiddlesticks ends up going. We will drop ourselves across to the regular champion slate, just so you guys can kind of correspond those names with the faces that we've gotten used to. Of course, Mark, Boot's going to be on LeBlanc this time round. But yes, Shout on that Fiddlesticks. So much potential to surprise Solaris Eclipse over on the blue. I'm really excited to see what he can do with that pick.
So much potential, but also so hard down to fall. If Lee Sin comes in, Fiddlesticks can fly high, can also fall very hard down, because if Lee Sin just invades, then Fiddlesticks won't really be able to deal with that, will lose these fights, and well, then he won't really be of any use except for an engaged tool for Milo to use his whole ult upon.
Yeah, I mean, at least that part of the kind of lineup is, it's fairly item agnostic, but I think you're right. We'd have to be looking to see what Eclipse are going to do early to try and shut down that Fiddlesticks and show why he generally doesn't see too much competitive play, despite some of these incredible high moments he can generate for the team. Alright guys, we're just 2 minutes away from heading into the game. As has been agreed between the two teams, this will only be a best of one rather than the best of three that was promised. So neither team are going to be able to adjust their strategy on the fly and change things up. We've got surprises coming in from, at least from the side of Solaris Esports, but whether those surprises are going to be the cause of a party or not has yet to be decided.
Indeed, and well, with this game being a best of one, it's going to be the one team fight might just be the deciding factor for who will be the first place here in the Zotac in a League of Legends Cup, or if it is going to be the second place that you will get. You have to really minimize your mistakes in this game, especially going up against your sister team, which we assume it is, because they most likely know how you play, they know your strategy, and they will be able to just punish you so hard if you play predictable.
Alright, 1 minute away. Please let us know in the chat which you think it's going to be. Is it going to be hashtag Eclipse? Is it going to be hashtag Esports? Both teams fighting for pride here. I'm sure there'll be some fairly serious bragging rights, particularly if Esports manage to pull off the potential of that Fiddlesticks in the jungle.
Because it is a hard composition to pull off as well. The Galio relying so much on getting that hero's entrance. But also a thing we haven't mentioned is that you have a pushing mid laner. Your mid lane will attract so much attention, and with the side of Eclipse having a Lee Sin jungle, Zotac will be under so much pressure from the mid lane. And from the jungle, of course.
Only a few more seconds separate us from finding out who is going to start off this game with a bang. We talked about how win or learn on that Lee Sin can make a mess of things for Fiddlesticks. Down at the bottom lane, we've also got that potential of the aggression. Do you think Solaris Eclipse are going to be able to get ahead in that direction?
It's going to be hard, because of Ashe and Rakan being such a good combo in the bottom side. Once Rakan lands his CC, it's going to be so easy for Ashe to put down all of her damage to land the volley and get the ranger's focus stacked up. And well, with that in mind, Lucian is so reliant on having control of the bottom side, of being able to just be a bully against his opponent. And well, Rakan kind of neutralizes the mobility that Lucian brings to the table because of the grand entrance from Cadirs.
Alright guys, we are heading out onto the Rift for the very last time this evening. Please do show some love for these teams in the chat. Solaris Eclipse going up against Solaris Esports. A huge amount of pride on the line. We'll see how these teams manage to match up against each other. We've seen both of them put out very impressive performances, and we can only hope to see more of the same in our grand finals.
Here we go, rolling out for the grand finals. We saw Winner Learn feed in the first game of tonight, but he did win. Now, the question stands, has he learned anything?
Oh boy, there's only so many times that joke can be used, but we're going to try and find as many.
That's a new joke, that's a new joke. I made a different joke in the first game.
Alright guys, well there'll be plenty more of those kind of jokes to come, because we're going to have to wait a little bit for the action to actually break out here. We have got esports, because we're going to have to refer to these guys by the second part of the name, otherwise it's going to get too confusing. Esports down in the bottom, lurking in the bush, perhaps looking to see if they can get off some early damage, but so far, no real attempts to secure a pre-laning kill or anything remotely like it.
I've said this before in these best of ones, Peter. You don't want to go over and give an advantage to your opponent when it is only a best of one, because one mistake could cost you the game. But now, looking forward in this game, how are we seeing the two junglers start? So, Lee Sin and Fiddlesticks will both start at the Crimson Raptors, which means that they will get a little bit of help in terms of getting that experience out for themselves. Means that they can go Crimson Raptor into red buff, into either Wolves or directly to the blue buff, depending on whether they want to have any health going out onto a gank, or if they just want to return to the base and then get out onto ganks.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that polling to see if they can be the difference makers early. Honestly, it's great to see these teams once again, because they both worked so hard in their respective games. To see Snow back on that Ashe again, going up against Ryusho, it's going to be a real display of skill down this bottom lane, which I do fully remember is going to be a completely different champion who has got that quote.
Oh, I need to arrange my... I just saw Lee Sin down there as the support. Never mind, now it's all good. So, right now Lucian Ryu is actually taking control of the bottom side, but still, you haven't really gotten any abilities yet onto Ashe or Rakan for that matter. Once they start to get the abilities, once they get those, they can start to fight back against Rio and Muro, because right now Muro and Rio, they are just poking so hard onto Snow and Cat Ears, but at least Snow having that Dawn's shield means that he will have a hell of a lot of sustain.
That's true, and with shields on both sides of that bottom lane, the trades are going to need to be chosen very carefully if they want to make those stick. Up on the top side though, Steven's getting hammered in lane by Mylu, who's doing absolute work. Mark Boots in the mid, looking to try and get some damage down on his opposing mid laner as well. Very aggressive trading across the whole map, but keep an eye out for Shout. He's sneaking into the jungle of Solaris Eclipse, and across the wall he goes. That's going to be the first blood, and the Fiddlesticks comes out big even before the 4-minute mark.
That was a beautiful play from Shout, just flashing over and getting the fear onto Mark Boots. And well, the kill went over to Judagan, so that couldn't have been better. Now their priority lane from the side of esports will be stronger, and they can now start to make these plays. Fiddlesticks come down to the bottom side.
Yes, Shout very, very proactive in this game. Nice silence coming through. Muro down to very low, and that will be a second kill for esports in a hurry. Ryu trying to chain it back, but Winner Learn across the trying to come in. He's going to get caught up with the fear. Shout trying to heal through the damage. I don't think... No, he is going to make it. It's going to be a traded kill, but the assist going across. Snow 2-0 in this one already. And our doubts about Shout have been eliminated.
The blank is also coming down to the bottom side, so now Cat Ears and Snow, they have to run away. Oh no, that flash Q from Winner Learn did not go through.
That's got to be frustrating. But what a great start to this game as we head past the 5-minute mark already. Esports making such big plays, and I'm loving the boost mobility purchase coming out from Shout. Looks like he's not in any way done with making plays all over the map.
Winner wants to go down to the bottom side, wants to go in from behind, but that's going to be very risky and he will just back away. So yeah, with the boost of mobility coming out from Shout, well, you have to do so on a Fiddlesticks. You have to get out and try and snowball even more. You have to keep going this way because Fiddlesticks aren't exactly someone like, let's say, Lee Sin or Dees who can get ahead and have a lot of damage. He is so reliant on his team members. So with him being able to get around the map, he can now visit the mid lane, which is strong. He can visit the bottom side, which has a BSO to play with, and Milo in the top side, who are also getting stronger and stronger.
I mean, as far as a statement of intent goes, Solaris Esports picking up double Dark Seal already so early on in the game certainly sends quite the message to Eclipse that they want to get ahead early and they want to stay ahead.
They are not afraid at all. Oh,
Shout may need to be though, has to take the blast cone out of trouble. Win or Learn goes across with the safeguard, avoids getting stunned. Drutskin trying to stop the kill, but it will be Win or Learn picking up his second of the game, and it's all of Solaris Eclipse kills so far.
And that's the problem about Fiddlesticks, as we mentioned in the pick and ban phase. Yes, Fiddlesticks can get ahead in terms of CC, can help his team quite a lot, but if Lee Sin finds him, if they go into a 1v1 scenario, Fiddlesticks can bring nothing against Lee Sin and will lose every time.
It does feel like for a while Solaris Esports were able to choose those optimal situations for the Fiddlesticks, but now we've got Win or Learn in the jungle looking to try and make sure that Shout doesn't get those freebies anymore.
Shout is once again down in bottom side, wants to perhaps go down into the bottom side and help his bottom lane, which is about to hit level 6 once they get the grand entrance and the quickness down on top of the enchanted crystal arrow. That's going to be a very easy CC stacking in bottom side and a kill most likely.
Nice bit of scouting there coming through from Snow. We're seeing Eclipse, despite being a little bit behind, are actually going to be the more proactive team, making their way into the jungle, perhaps trying to catch Shout, picking up one of these camps. And I really like the idea of trying to take the fight to the Fiddlesticks rather than waiting for another huge flash play across the wall.
In the bottom side, a lot of vision, and this is again talking about these flash plays you were just mentioning. With all of this vision coming down, you aren't really able to make these both flash plays and flashy plays with the help of Shout. However, Stevenson might have just found a Shout.
Yes, Shout is going to be in so much trouble, does get a little help from his friends. Coming in, getting the stun, Milo gets a kill on Win and Learn, but eventually the kill gets traded back onto Mark Boots. Another fight breaking out into the bottom side. Snow shooting out a lot of that damage. Moro flashing in to try and finish the job. Cat is down pretty low, but Snow getting ignited, getting cold. But Cat is going to absorb it. Ryusho gets the kill. Nonetheless, really nice pickup for Solaris Eclipse.
And a good idea of when you can fight in the bottom side. You just had the level 6 advantage over and level 5 bottom lane. No, the quickness coming out from the carriers so that they could get away from there, so that they could chant him up. No disengage coming out from the enchanted crystal arrow. So really well punished by Rio and Moro in the bottom side. And now Eclipse, they are really fighting back here against Solaris Esports. And
oh, Drews again. We've seen Mark Boots do this over and over again, going through and getting these massively good trades, then just being able to get out so cleanly. Druchkin seems really to be struggling to try and find a way to respond to that damage.
But I want to go back, Counterfeit, to a point we made, or I made in a Champion Select, about when Win or Learn meets Fiddlesticks. So he has met Fiddlesticks one time, but overall Fiddlesticks has died 3 times. And now that means that Fiddlesticks, he doesn't pack any damage, he doesn't really pack anything except CC. So right now he's a CC bot. He's someone that is used to engage with the hero's entrance. And that's basically all he is. At least he still has some strong lanes to play around with.
We're still, as the 10-minute mark does get caught up on, it's still incredibly close between these two teams. The early advantage, oh, there's the Crystal Arrow, but the crowd control is coming in, there's no way out. Shout taking the kill, Maroon looks to be next, Snow trying to get that kill onto himself, it's going to be very, very close. Cat is diving under the tower, maybe a mistake. It does take a couple of tower shots, but does get out. The teleport coming in from Mark Boots, going to be frustrated, looking to try and trade back a kill, does clear out the minion wave, comes back in again, looking to try and find Shout, but the shield comes through, the knock-up as well. Mark Boots in a lot of trouble, and it will be Solaris getting yet another kill for themselves.
Here comes Steven 1, they're not quite done yet, they want to catch some snow.
Stevens 1 looking to try and find his way through, but all this time Eclipse do manage to pick up the Rift Herald. Snow really found themselves on the wrong side of things, and Stevens 1 makes the kill look easy, he gets his very first of the game.
But this was exactly what is esports they needed. Getting kills onto Snow means that, well, his gold deficit is actually now a gold advantage. He's ahead of Rio in the bottom side. While it only being a fair 100 gold, it's still a little bit of a lead and a way for him to get back into the game, which is what his team needs.
Oh, the chain crowd control coming through yet again. Win and learn, getting out by the skin of his teeth. This game has had such great catches from both sides.
You know what this game is? This game is crazy. The two teams are fighting so evenly, getting kills left, right, and center.
Drutigan could be next, getting rooted up. Again, that trade so massive for Mark Boots. Drutigan making no response whatsoever. Milo continues his reign of terror up in the top side, has got that CS advantage, and takes chunks out of Stevens High.
This is what happens when you have a lot of strong lanes. You will be able to just get control. Oh, here comes Shout.
It's Shout getting the crowd control, the stun comes through. Too much damage for Mark Boots to deal with, and finally Drutigan gets something back in his favor.
CC bot making work in the mid lane, having a 100 kill contribution. It's going fairly well for Shout, despite being half the kills that his team has given up.
More trading down in the bottom side. Keep your eyes on win or learn. Looks to be trying to make a gank happen. Snow get caught up. So much damage coming through. Nice. Dragon's Rage pushing Snow away, but so many shields coming through. Moru trying to finish off the job, but Mailu is there to make sure that does not happen.
Here comes Shout. Win or learn is in trouble.
Win or learn going to be caught up in the crowd control. Going to get silenced. Going to get eaten alive by Shout, who is finding the way back into relevance. 7 stacks already on that Dark Seal.
Right here, you need to take the Cloud Drake because you are losing a lot of pressure in the top side. You need to get another advantage on top of these kills because you only got 1 kill, and that's not really anything to brag home about. You should have gone for the Drake, or at least the control around the Drake pit, so you had another wing condition. However, grand entrance in the top side.
Nice flash away, making sure that isn't an engage that happens. Of course, we've barely had a chance to talk about this kind of thing because of so much that's been going on. The bottom lane still ready for claiming. Another prize being that Cloud Drake if a team does get an advantage down there.
But just getting control over the Cloud Drake area means that you have another objective to play around with, which is exactly what you want to do on the side of esports. You want to get into these close corridors to utilize the CC. Do it again, you're in trouble.
Mark Boots comes in, does it again, win and learn, just with that little extra push, makes the kill go through, and revenge for Mark Boots. So many ganks, so much action, and the Rift Herald is going to come out. I didn't even notice that one going across, snuck away by win or learn, and it does mean the first tower is going to go in favour of Solaris Eclipse.
As we said in the Champion Select, esports' composition is so reliant on everybody being
Oh,
together
wait
on
a
the same
second, that
page.
chain crowd control's gonna come out once again. Shout gonna get frustrated as the second tower comes in for Eclipse. It is gonna be Shout picking up that kill. This chain crowd control so hard to deal with. Shout a massive part of that.
It indeed is, and well, as I wanted to say, in the Champions League, we said that this team loses and wins together. It is all about them being a unit, being one system. And well, we've seen them lose when they can't really work together, when they can't utilize all their CC and their damage together, but when they are able to just pack it all into one big package, well, then they win, which we just saw with Rakan and Fiddlesticks in the mid lane getting the kill onto win or learn. However, as I've also wanted to say earlier on, before we saw another kill come out, if you get control over the Dragon Pit, then you get another way to play, because it's the close corridors where you are really good, and well, you might not get contested, but well, you get a clock rate.
I mean, even though the gold is so even between these two teams, it does feel like it's Solaris the ones really dictating the pace. They keep getting these crazy pickoffs, getting rewarded with the Cloud Drake. Drutigan also finally managing to find a way to deny that damage in the mid lane. It's gonna be pretty tough for Solaris Eclipse to deal with that, unless we see them go down the heavy anti-crowd control route like we've seen Solaris Esports opponents do before.
That could have been so hard for Snow if you got hit by the win or learn Q. Oh, he does.
There we go, second time's the charm, but it's going to be a Galio making the complete mess of things. Win or learn does manage to extricate himself from peril, but it's going to be his teammates who pay the price. Shout does get taken out on the backside. It's a 1-for-1 right now. Snow, nice explosive cuts. Does get from the back. Mark boots down very low. Nice safeguard, but Drutigan does get the kill in the end, and it is going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Solaris Esports.
Mark Boots aren't the traditional assassin anymore. With LeBlanc getting that rework, she's now more of a battle mage, in my opinion at least, because of her sustained damage. Now that meant that she couldn't assassinate Snow. No way that she could deal with the back line, and well, if you can't deal with the back line, if you can't kill Drutigan or Snow, then you will just lose, because they are packing such a good punch right now, with them both having 3 kills and quite a lot of items to work with.
I'm honestly still so impressed with both sides, with how even this game still remains, despite how these pickoffs have been just almost instantaneous death for the opposition involved. I have to wonder at what point we're going to move beyond this kind of phase, where those kind of things are possible, and see these teams start to really get going for these proper team fights.
But it's not really about the team fight for either team. For Eclipse, it's all about getting that one pick that can lead into an objective, into a tower. But for esports, it's about just getting one pick as well right now. They have the quickness, they have the enchanted pistol arrow and a hero's entrance. If they can utilize that to get a tower, then they are more than happy. But it's not a full-blown team fight, it's a small skirmish. However, a small skirmish might just come the way of Snow and Carriers as 3 people are entering the top side.
Mark Boots teasing Solaris Esports. Win or learn, gonna avoid the Crystal, does drop in with the damage. Katia is gonna be able to hold off multiple members of Eclipse at once. Now the team fight is turned all around. Moroga's gonna go down. Cullen goes wide. The Galio dropping himself in, making all that damage go away. Solaris Esports have access to this topside tier 1 tower. They're gonna take it their very first of the game and start to build that gold lead.
And that's the problem for Eclipse. If you cannot delete anyone really fast in a fight, then esports, they will have more damage and they will overtake this game. We just saw it right there. Snow didn't get deleted, were able to just survive after all of his team came to help him. And that just meant that esports, they won yet another fight.
It does seem to be, the team composition seems to be working so well. Solaris Eclipse are going to try it once more. Of course, this time round, Mylu doesn't have the ultimate to be able to get away, but tanking up so much damage. Still a huge hunk of champions to be able to get through. Milo going down pretty low. Will that last bit of damage be there? We have got the taunt coming in underneath the tower. Mark Boots can't do it, and we see another walk away.
But a potential another tower for Eclipse in the top side with Lucian and Karma just pushing away, nobody there to defend. That's going to be one tower going down for them, but a good response coming out from esports, getting towers of their own, which is exactly what they need to cement their lead right here and to try and slowly close out the game. Now they can move down to the Drake. They have control over the mid lane with them shoving that in, getting the tower as well. Now, next objective for them is the Drake, because a Baron would be very hopeful at this point in the game, only 20 minutes into the game.
I think, yes, a little ambitious is understating things. But now with those towers being taken down, we get to see a clearer picture of where the teams stand gold-wise. Solaris having that 2k gold lead, which is going to translate itself, I think, sometime soon into one more completed item. And if we can see the team fight happen at that time, I have to think Solaris could run away with things.
One team fight might again be what can decide this game, but neither team wants to go for the full-blown team fights. As we've said, it's all about getting small skirmishes, getting one quick pick for the two teams. Here comes Shout.
It's Shout looking to aggress onto Mark Boots. Mark Boots so mobile, but gets caught up. The crowd control, the taunt, the kill is real. Shout picks up their 6th of the game. We had doubts about Shout, but now gonna have the most kills in the game.
And yes, despite Shout having a hard time in early game, now he's back into the game and getting another pick onto Mark Boots, getting the 5th kill onto him. Could not have come at a better time. He will be dead until the dragon respawns. Then they can move on to that Drake. They can pick it up. Yes, Mark Boots has a teleport, but that's about it.
Marlo getting caught out again, but we've seen how much damage he's able to shrug off. Just waiting for the rest of the team to turn up. Crystal and make sure there's no further aggression. Marlo being able to shrug off 3 members of Solaris Eclipse at the same time. And now esports move in on this Ocean Drake. This will be the 2nd of the game, and we'll start to rack up those objectives.
The 2nd Drake of the game, the 1st Ocean Drake. But we aren't going to see Win and Learn try and steal that away. Would be very risky, and it is, after all, just an Ocean Drake. It could have been way worse. And now, with the next Drake being a Cloud Drake, it's not like it's a triple Infernal Drake into double Mountain Drake, which would have been very, very bad and hard for Eclipse to get back into the game from esports. Getting these small advantages, small stats, while it's nice, it's definitely not game-breaking.
With that Elemental Drake being down, of course, eyes can now turn towards that Baron Pit. As you mentioned before, it seems very unlikely to see a team actually successfully take it at this point, but still, we're seeing the esports setting up that vision, trying to get the warning if we see Eclipse perhaps go for a desperation play.
Eclipse could go for that desperation play indeed. What they ought to do instead is just to try and play around the side lanes. They have the double teleports. They have Mark Boots and Stevens one with both of their teleports up. Just move out onto the side lanes, try to gain control that way. Make sure that you stay even in the mid lane, and it will never be hard and in trouble of losing. Sorry, you'll never be in trouble of losing the Baron as well, because of you just gaining control over the map. And this is also a way of minimizing the risks when you are behind in goal. But then again, you also have to keep in mind, well, there is a lot of CC on esports side, so if they want to, they can force their way in the mid lane if you aren't careful.
You make a really good point with the crowd control there. I do wonder if Eclipse did decide to commit themselves off to the sidelines, which seems to be what they're doing, if that channel teleport will get them back to the fight in time, or if in fact we'll see Solaris Esports decide they don't want any part of the teleport. Oh my gosh, I almost hit. Shout's waiting for Mark Boots to come back again. He is gonna, oh my god, the damage comes through. The LeBlanc can't be denied. This is a chance for Eclipse to come back into things. Cat is across the wall. What mobility on the Rakan. But Eclipse taking the chance to move forward and smash themselves down another tower. Nice engage. The chain crowd control means they get another kill. Eclipse coming back into this game. They're going to get a tower for their troubles and even up the gold.
That was such an emotional roller coaster. I thought for surely that Enchanted Crystal would land onto Mark Boots and they would be able to get the pick. Oh, Cat Ears!
Cat Ears is going to be the one picked! Even with all the mobility, when you're locked down, there's no way out. Mark Boots does take an ult to the face, but all the while, Solaris Eclipse moving in on this Baron. If they can get this away, this will be massive for them. Malu coming in from the side. This could be a disaster for Eclipse. Who's going to take it? It's going to be Solaris Esports stealing it away. Win or learn. It's going to be frustrated. Malu across the wall with the hero's entrance. Solaris Esports frustrate Solaris Eclipse.
You can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs, but you can't make an omelette if you don't have any eggs as well.
I'm a little confused by what you mean by that, but it sounds good, so I'll let you explain further.
Okay, so the thing is, Eclipse, they just got the picks. They got 3 kills, or they got the kill onto Snow. They got the kill onto Cat Ears. They got the kill onto Shout. Milo is a top laner. He went in, got the Baron. You should have been able to smite that away because you just had the best and perfect opportunity to get that. But now, instead, you Baron throw. You give the control back into esports, and now they can just end the game.
Ryusho in a lot of trouble, does get a little help from his friends. Shout coming in from the side, getting the silence, getting the kill. Mark Boots does get the first one of this engagement though. It looks so good, but now it's Malu being caught in the base, gonna get taunted up, gonna get rooted, gonna get deleted. What a defense from Solaris Eclipse, who looked like they were done in this game.
They certainly were able to just hold their own down there. They did not lose the tower at all because we did see a very forced engage coming out from esports, but still esports in control with the Baron buff having over half of it left. There is plenty of time for them to go to play this game and to end it out, because it's not like their siege is that bad without the Baron buff. They have Ashe and Syndra. They can very easily siege onto the mid lane or any other tower for that matter. But with the Baron buff, it just gets so much better. But that's of course if they siege and don't engage in a weird way like they just did, because that is just going back and forth and allowing Eclipse to come back from this Baron throw.
We mentioned a long time ago at this point. Oh, wait a second, never mind. Snow almost getting taken out. And Mark Boots, look at that mobility, making the transition across the entire length of that lane to escape, operating by themselves, and still nearly getting a kill.
Now, with Mark Boots attracting so much attention to the top side and taking away that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, it allows for his team to move out onto the map. Now they will go down and get control over the Dragon Pit. Smart decision. Baron hasn't respawned yet. There's no objective to catch up there. So instead, just try and deny away a second Cloud Drake for Eclipse. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, the Death Push! They don't realize it's a clone and they commit everything! An ultimate burn there! And now, if a fight breaks out, it's going to be Solaris Esports disadvantage. Mark Boots still doing work all by themselves, and it will mean that Eclipse get this Cloud Drake for absolutely nothing. Mark Boots, even on a ward, still can't be denied.
Not even one ultimate, 2 ultimates will be lost in the top side against that clone. And, well, you got the Baron buff, yes, but you are losing out here, because Eclipse, with esports faltering a little bit on the side lanes, going for, just all focusing on getting a kill onto Mark Boots, they can easily rotate down to the bottom side, take the second in the turn. And here goes Shout.
It's going to be tight. It's Shout coming across. He catches. And it's going to be surely a kill. Even with the shield coming through from Moro, it's going to be too much to get away from. We thought Eclipse would come back into it, but suddenly everything falls to pieces. Up on the top side, Mark Boots trying to make up for lost time, pushing into that tower. But it's Solaris Esports in the mid lane. What a great catch. And they're going to try and make it count.
Very good catch indeed from Shout, being there with the help of his Ghost Storm, are able to just go in and deliver Hero's entrance for Milo. And that means that now they can try to push down the mid lane tower and perhaps get an inhibitor as well.
Stevens, nice use of the explosive cast. Katin's be able to get himself out in time. Such high mobility, but it will be the middle inhibitor turret going to fall in favor of Solaris Esports. The teleport coming in from the back, though, it looks to be the Solaris Eclipse want to make a play. Mark Boots being kept at bay by Malu so far, but I don't think we're quite done here.
It looks like Mark Boots are just trying his best to disrupt any backs are still lingering around there, because that means that his team will get the fastest path into the mid lane, where they will be able to respond with a tower, but everybody are able to get back, and therefore there is going to be a defense for that mid lane tower.
I love the strategy from Solaris Eclipse. We've seen our Mark Boots doing absolute work in this game to try and make sure his team gets ahead strategically. A shame for them they weren't able to get anything out of it, but the idea was certainly pretty good.
That's a good point, Confed. It was a good idea. I like the way that you tried to do that, but it just didn't work out as you could have hoped. Now, next objective, Confed, what is that?
Well, I mean, we are seeing Eclipse keeping up the pressure around the top. It's going to be a Baron in a little over a minute, but we've seen how poorly they went for Solaris Eclipse last time. I don't know if they want to just have a repeat performance without getting an enormously successful team fight first.
And with that being said, an enormously team fight could be the way to just get the right track onto the Baron. It's going to be a little bit hard getting the right team fight, especially with you lacking a lot of CC. It is all in the hands of esports, but getting the purple ward would be the best for both teams, just to try and open up the map even more, to get the base falling, crumbling like a cookie. And now, well, at least for Eclipse, it's all about them. As you said, it didn't work out last time. However, have they learned, and will they win?
Shout doesn't realise they're standing on a ward, and they're not going to be standing on a ward much longer because they're going to be dead. Mark Boots picking up a kill, really huge now with that element of surprise gone from Solaris Esports. Will we see this Baron getting started up? Even with a numbers advantage, it still feels super risky for Solaris Eclipse, but they don't seem to care. They're starting up, they're spitting in the face of Solaris Esports right now. Will it bite them again?
That was the worst possible time that Shout could have died, because you needed that engage to deliver the hero's entrance. Now, you just have to back off. There's no way that you can get in there and get another steal from Milo. So smart decision for them. Just back off. Don't give any more advantages over to Eclipse. Now, you have to play against the Baron buff, which is going to be really hard. But you have the CC. You can make it work. You can buy time for yourself if you find that one right pick.
Eclipse moving into the top side in numbers. Teleport coming down bottom as well. We're going to see that Baron buff applied to two different lanes. But can Solaris Esports respond? Milo is miles away. But no, it seems like Stevens instead looking to transition to the mid side. I'm curious if he's going to be able to make any progress there, because the minions are miles away.
A weird TP, I must admit, coming out from Stevens. Because, I mean, it would have been interesting if you had went to the bottom side instead to push. That would have made a little bit more sense, but instead trying to run up against his team to try and meet them, to try and help them, not even going for the mid lane. So a little bit of a wasted opportunity coming in from Eclipse with not setting up your waves probably so that you can keep pushing. Means that they will lose a lot of the time with the Baron buff, but at least they will get the inner track onto the next Drake, which will be an Ocean Drake, so that they can try to get that one.
certainly would be valuable if only for its ability to pump up the Elder Drake, which will be coming immediately afterwards. It does seem like Eclipse are trying to reset things, trying to get themselves back into that 3-lane push to make the most of that Baron. We've got at least a tier 2 left in the top side for Eclipse to take down without too much risk. But other than that, they're going to have to make a big commit if they want to get an eye on those inhibitors.
Now Stevens 1 are finally pushing in the top side. Mark's boots are pushing in the bottom side. Now they're setting up their waves probably. Now they can start to end this game by tearing down the base of Solaris Esports.
Top and bottom both being pushed. The response though, it's going to be a little bit easier for Solaris Esports once this tier 2 goes down. A lot easier for them to be able to cover all their bases unless Eclipse can put enough pressure on to make that impossible. Mark Boots has got the big minion wave down bottom, trying to make it happen. Milo trying to clear top. Esports trying to hold on in this game. Marco Boots goes in, draws out some of that crowd control, buys time for Eclipse to take down their first inhibitor tower of the game. Cat is getting a little bit of chunking down. Will we see that inhibitor fall? It's going to be pretty tight. Crowd control comes through. Ryoshoku getting that huge shield. Big explosive cask off the backside. Katiz makes the engage happen. Ryoshoku pouring through the damage off the backside. Win and learn, gets the kill into Katiz. But Shout comes through, gets down the Zonius. This could be a huge fight for either side. It looks to be Eclipse. They've got 2 kills so far. Will they get more? A double kill coming through. Only Molo left standing for Solaris Esports. They gambled everything on this last fight, and now it's going to be the ace with the Baron up minions. Solaris Eclipse take the opportunity and they run all the way to the goal line, smashing 1 Nexus tower. Now it's going to be 2. No resistance from Solaris Esports. We have got your winners, ladies and gentlemen. All they need to do is finish the job.
Beautifully played in the end by Solaris Eclipse, knowing how to end out a game with the help of a Baron buff. They knew how to make these hard decisions, how to take their smart macro play and just end the game instantly. Well played by the better sister team.
Yeah, that was so close for so long. We thought that there was enough on the esports side, enough catch to make it happen, but honestly, that game ended up really decisively. Everything thrown at there, and everything exploding so quickly.
Yeah, it just ended off of like one play, I must say. As soon as Solaris Eclipse, they got the control of the map. Once they got the first, I think it was a quarter kill or so. Like once they started to just rack up these picks, they were able to get the control of the map slowly. And Solaris Esports, they never seem to get back. They never seem to collect their thoughts and just work together as a team again to utilize all of their CC.
Well guys, it's been quite the journey, and as we said before, because of an agreement between these two teams, rather than it being a best of 3 finals, it was an incredibly fought best of 1 instead. So we have your Zotac Cup US winners. It will be Solaris Eclipse going through. Honestly, really well earned.
Indeed, it was well earned. I must say that I didn't like that first game we saw tonight. I thought that was not as a weak showing, but it could have been better. However, in this game, it was so much more decisive, and they definitely showed up. They learned, and they won.
Alright guys, well, that'll be it for us this evening. Thank you for sticking with us, for you guys who did. Thank you for your feedback. Of course, we'll do our very best to bring you the best stream possible. But yeah, it's been a real honour. I've been Peter Hunnell. Joining me has been Jesper Ben Roman Kunz. Jesper, any final thoughts for our audience as we head into the night?
Well, guys, before we see the sun rise, you can always find both Peter Harnell and I over on Twitter and Facebook if you want to hear more from us. Also, do remember to give a like and a subscription here to the Zotac Cup and the Coil Gaming Twitch channel, because we do appreciate quite a lot.
Alright guys, thanks for sticking with us, and we'll hopefully see you next time.